The stars of American motocross roll into the Pacific Northwest. Amidst the backdrop of the regal pines and clear running water, the fury and passion of AMA Motocross is set to be unleashed. In a sport where fortunes can change in the blink of an eye, these men must be great for 12 rounds on the nation's toughest motocross tracks. Round 8 of the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship begins right now, live on Fuel TV. We're in the beautiful Pacific Northwest for round 8 of the 2011 Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. It's the Peterson Cat Washougal National. Hello everyone and welcome to Fuel TV's continuing live coverage of AMA Pro Motocross in 2011. Jason Weigan, of course, joined by four-time AMA National Champion Jeff Emig for what should be another exciting day of racing. We'll start today off with our 450 class and we'll give you the big picture storylines we're following in that division. It starts out with Chad Reed, who tried to fly at our last race at Millville and indeed found out he could not. He came crashing down hard but was able to recover and finish 14th in the second moto, preserving the series points lead. But not by much. It's actually very close now as Ryan Dungey and Ryan Villopoto went 1-2 last week, and they have cut significant distance into Chad's series lead. And Villopoto's feeling strong here at his home race in Washington. He was the fastest in qualifying. However, he has never won here at Washougal. So, Jeff, let's open it up to you. We can talk all day about how great the track is here at Washougal, but let's just talk about the scenery and the atmosphere. This is one of the most fun events to come to on the entire tour.
Well, it definitely is, Jason. I tell you, when I land in the airport in Portland, I'm never so happy to see the Columbia River. I'm like Lewis and Clark as I, head up the river, make a left on Washougal River Road. It's such a scenic drive up here, and it just really sets the mood for Washougal Motocross Park and what this place is all about. But the racetrack here is incredibly challenging. Traction is tough. There's a lot of ruts here today. We've had a little bit of rain. Overall, just a fantastic day of racing, and these riders are going to go for it. We're into that final push to be AMA Motocross champion.
Well, we're definitely looking forward to it, and for more, let's send it down to the third member of our broadcast team, Aaron Bates.
Thanks, Weege. Well, we're here at the Pacific Northwest, and I am standing with the fan favorite, Washougal's very own Ryan Villopoto. Ryan, you've never had the best of luck here in the 250 class. This is like a new start for you on the 450. How do you think things are going to turn out being the fastest overall in practice today?
I think they're going to go good. We'll get out there and get a good start, put in some good laps, and see what we can do. I think things will go good today, and we'll just go from there.
Best of luck. And these guys have a lot cooler climates this weekend for you. Andrew, what is this like for riders lining up behind the gate, knowing what they're up against today?
It's beautiful here. The weather's good. Like you said, the track's the best I've ever seen it. They put in a lot of new dirt, added a new section up the hill, and it's wide. And the only thing we have to deal with is the shadows today.
Good luck to you today. And Ryan Dungey making your way in there. The bikes are being lined up right now. What's going through your head, and do you approach this race any differently than any other?
Just the same, really. I try to approach it the same, really. Just two moto format, just focus on each moto at a time, have fun, and maximum points. I think it's important to get off to a good start, see what we can do, and have some fun. One
thing they all agree on today, this track is definitely going to be a challenge for them.
Here he goes to the inside, and Dungey takes Villopoto down. Last week, unbelievable racing. We're set for more now. Yeah, the beautiful fir trees surrounding this, inarguably, I'd say, the most picturesque track on this tour. And we're going to show you the 411 on how we'll go motocross racing today on Fuel TV. For both classes, we will have two motos with 40 riders in each, and each moto lasts 30 minutes and 2 laps. We'll combine both those scores from those two motos to determine an overall winner. In case of a tie, the better score in Moto 2 breaks that tie. So that's the format. Let's give you the track map, brought to you by Kawasaki and the 2012 KX450F, fully equipped and race ready. Jeff Emig, take us on a lap.
Difficult start section here. Kind of goes up this really weird off camber. You shoot down now. You're at the bottom of horsepower hill. You're trying to keep the horsepower to the ground. Actually, a new loop up there off to the left. Adding some more drop-offs. Of course, the main Lucas Oil drop-off that if you get the whole shot, you drop down into just an ocean of spectators. Back up again. A couple downhills coming down through the tight whoop section by the finish, which the old finish line area here, some new zigzags. They changed some of that section, but overall, the rain on Thursday has made this track awesome.
At the top of our show, we showed you last week's clip of Chad Reed, the 22, unbelievable crash that he took on and survived. And this week, he told us about it.
It wasn't anything too crazy. It just, I was third gear wide open, and then suddenly, you know, the front kind of went first. And then when you watch it on TV, you know, the rear goes as well. But I didn't feel that. I just felt the front go. And then, so in my mind, all I felt was just a big jar of the handlebars. And then the next minute I'm flying through the air thinking that this is not good, you know, and trying to, you know, just comprehend that. And really, honestly, it happened so fast that you just act on instinct. I mean, you know, you think, you know, I can think about it now, and the fact that I was going face first, that's not a good idea. And instinctively, I tried to get my body rotated around so that I wouldn't land face first. And when you take a bad situation like that, I think I handled it pretty well. And I was winded bad. Just that was probably the worst thing, you know, just really, really winded. And when I was on the ground, I was trying to get my breath. And then, you know, as you're starting to get your breath, I do the body take, you know, the body count, you know, feel your arms, your legs, your wrist, and everything felt pretty intact. So once I regained my breath, my instinct was to get back on the bike.
Well, we'll definitely be watching Reed to see how he responds after that big crash. We were also going to watch this man, Mike Alessi, who's been solid this year, but in many ways, fourth place is the place you do not want to finish in a motocross race. You're fast, you're good, you're strong, but you're just off the podium where the big attention, the interviews, the sponsor plugs, and the bonuses come in, and that's where he has been the last couple of weeks, in fourth. So yeah, we will see if Mike can get to the podium tonight. Yeah, and Mike actually tied for third. I mean, he was there, but needs a whole shot here today. Yeah, he lost that tiebreaker for third last week to Trey Canard. Let's go racing on Fuel TV. And there's the crowd going crazy because the 1 and the 2 are out front together, and it's the 2 going to lead him to Horsepower Hill. Washington's own Ryan Villopoto leading the field uphill. Justin Brayton on the Nelson Milk Toyota bike got a great start also, and he's there in the yellow gear. Looks like Trey Canard squeezing him out. Yeah, Canard on the red 41, moving to third around Brayton and going after Dungey on the number 1, who is in second. And Villopoto, who has a great majority of this crowd cheering for him. Well, they got something to cheer for. He's in the lead. And that's huge as he drops down the main drop-off, like I said, into the ocean of fans right here. It's such an amazing feeling. First moto of the day here, and the fans are so fired up. And now they see the local boy, Ryan Villopoto, who has never won the overall here. He's won motos at Washougal in the 250 class, but he's never won the overall at his hometown race. Yeah, and strangely enough, well, the 2 riders chasing him have had great success at this track. This man, Canard on the 41, dominated on a 250 bike in the 250 class here last year. As we watch Andrew Short on the 29 going after the 10 of Brayton for the number 4 spot. I was also going to mention Dungey has won this track several years in a row, so they have had success where Villopoto has not. We'll see if that changes today. Meanwhile, for Short, we have not seen him get a good start like this year, so gets to see the lead pace. Metcalfe just behind, but where's our points leader? The number 22 with the red number plate, Chad Reed. Yeah, nowhere near our leaders early on. We're going to try to hang our camera here and just see if we can find him. As you see, Michael Byrne, 26, making moves. There is Reed. That is outside of the top 10. Got a long way to go. He's got a long way to go, and this is a difficult track to make passes on. They put down some water to control the dust. It's in pretty good shape, but they added a little additional water. So Chad's really going to get roosted bad here. And Jason, we did our own private track walk today. Yeah, and what I kept trying to emphasize to you, what the lines were like back in '92. Now, to emphasize how bad the roost hurts you. Now, you guys know I talk about roost coming off these 450s all the time. Having mud and everything, stick to your goggle lens, you go through your tear-offs. But here, on Horsepower Hill, it hurts. It's like a shotgun blast
that is just relentless all the way up these hills. So as Chad Reed is trying to work his way through the pack, which he most certainly will do as he's getting past the 235 at this point, it's going to be painful on your arms, in your neck area, wherever there's not some sort of padded or plastic guard on your body.
It's Kevin Rookstool on that 235 that he's battling with right now, and he makes the move. So good job by Reed to make one pass, and that's just a little less roost he has to take on, but he's got a long way to go, as we said, outside the top 10 while his rivals for the championship get away.
Well, the one thing that he can do, and I'm sure he will be doing it, as you drop down the main Lucas Oil drop-off there, is you get a good chance to see this whole horseshoe down through here when you go back up. And you'll get an idea, you will get an idea of not only who the riders are in front of you, okay, and you kind of, plan your attack on, how you're going to get past them, what type of rider it is, but you also get a sense of where the leaders are and of how many riders are in front of you. And for Chad Reed right now, he's seeing a lot of guys in front of him.
He's 14th right now. And like we said, that's Rookstool in the 235 battling right behind him. Villopoto grabbed the early lead in this one. He's got Dungey and Canard behind him. And then it's Brayton and Short battling.
And just in front of him, looks like Jimmy Albertson, the 108, riding a Rockstar Yamaha.
Yeah, switching to the Yamaha after being a Honda guy for the last couple of weeks. Also have the 45 of Vince Freeze. Let's show you. That is Byrne on the yellow bike. He is in 7th. Hahn on 12th, 8th. The 45 Freeze 9th. Albertson 10th. And Reed beginning to roll up on this group. So he might be able to get into the top 10 maybe by the end of this lap.
Yeah, and this was a pretty tight group today, in qualifying practice. Michael Byrne on that VTO Sports Suzuki qualified 11th, which was his best qualifying effort of the year. And this whole group here with Freeze and Hahn and everybody, it was pretty close. It was the battle to see who could get inside the top 10.
Get Reed continue to make moves. And now going after the 108 of Albertson. Like we said, Albertson was a privateer a week ago in a Honda, got picked up by the Valley Rockstar Yamaha team. Behind Reed is the 76 of Partridge. He's on the DNA Shred Stick Star Racing Yamaha. He's their lone 450 entry. So a couple of different Yamaha teams sandwiching Reed as they drop back down.
And look, Reed's getting a little pressure here from Partridge.
Yeah, Partridge looking to make moves here on Reed.
I cannot explain how difficult it is as you come through the trees, in and out of the shadows. I'll follow up on that later. Aaron, what you got?
Well, guys, Chad Reed is making his way through the pack, and that roost definitely doesn't feel good at the moment. He said right before the start gate, he's making his way to the facilities to relieve any kind of nervousness, and he said he is stiff and sore. When I asked him on a scale of 1 to 10, he said he's not even going to worry about it right now. He's got to make it through today, and then he'll realize how bad the pain's actually been.
Well, that is the deal. Everyone saw last week how Chad got up after that horrific crash, rode to a 14th. You could tell that by the end of the race, he was a little bit off the pace. And I spoke to Chad on Sunday, and he's like, yeah, I'm a little sore in my thigh, my back hurts, I knocked the wind out of myself. But if you have to take any time off, that's when the body just seems to tighten up, and all the bruising in the muscles and all of the inflammation starts to set in. And I say it all the time, it's the next week that seems to be harder to execute and harder to race than actually that moto right after the crash. But here in this moto, Chad's going to loosen up some right now, kind of get the cobwebs out, and if he wants to be champion in a couple months, he's going to have to be relentless with his charge here, and he's going to have to keep picking off riders, get as many points as he can, and make up for this bad start that he's got here. Get things back on track.
We've seen Reed manage these races very well this year and go strong all the way down to the final 2 laps. Fitness has been phenomenal for him this season. The beginning of the races, we've seen him struggle before, even when he didn't come in injured. But he can measure himself and know exactly when to apply the effort. This guy's applying the effort right off the start. Villopoto, 4-second lead.
Yeah, he's got a 4-second lead. He's turning 2:05.99. Dungey's fast is a 2:06.2. So these guys are absolutely flying, and trying to put it into perspective of where Villopoto's at right now. We were just watching Reed, who is in 11th. He's 28.6 seconds behind the leader already.
Yeah, and the last time around, Reed was 8 seconds slower on his lap time than Villopoto, who is absolutely flying on his home track. Chad Reed trying to dig himself out of a big hole here at Washougal, Washington's Peterson Cat National. Here he goes, the 22 to the inside.
Trying to work the outside here.
Jeff.
Yeah, trying to work the outside on Jimmy Albertson. Now, he was behind Albertson for close to 3 laps. Could not make the pass, and that allowed about a 4 or 5 second gap up to Michael Byrne, who runs an 8.
Yeah, so Reed is now 9th, getting around Albertson. And so I'm going to ask you, Jeff, Reed is one of the smartest riders out here. Has he figured, to try to blow through these guys, is it going to work? I'm going to just use my fitness and just try to wear them down over the course of a long moto? Or is he in serious trouble right now being this far back?
Reed doesn't never seem to be the type that panics at anything, but third, I believe, needs to be the goal. Now look at Ryan Villopoto here. You see the lines that he's riding? He was way on the right of the track. He was not apexing the shortest line through the middle. He's trying to find the smoothest line. And also, remember, we walked the track. Remember how I explained to you there were sections of the track where it's really hard packed and slippery, and it gets shiny right there. But if you stay off of that, you kind of get in that cushion, is where it's really tacky. And so he's digging the Kawasaki in at that point, trying to get those knobbies to dig in and, turn to fast time. Now, he just edged out Dungey last lap around. A 2.68. Dungey was a 2.66 to a 2.68.
So yeah, 2/10 was the difference that last time around. So Dungey is matching the times after on the first few laps Villopoto got away, and they put some big distance between themselves and Trey Canard, who just ran a 2:09.
Last race was the first race back for Trey Canard after breaking his leg. He came out the first moto. Well, he came out qualifying practice, was the fastest rider. Came out the first moto up front. Yeah, we're going, wait a second, he is back.
Yeah.
And he admitted, hey, things started to happen really quick. So you can see right now he's turning a 2:09, the third fastest lap time. And he's fine in his comfort zone right now. So pretty good ride for Trey Canard.
Pretty good ride here for Medi, who is 4th in the series point standings and 4th in this race. And remember, last year he really came on strong in the second half of the tour, so he would like to do that again. And then behind him should be the number 10 of Justin Brayton. Aaron, what are you hearing on the number 10?
Well, guys, I was just informed by Jeremy Albrecht, the JGR team manager, that they are very happy with Brayton's performance, and he's strong throughout the entire moto, but what they've been working on is making him a little bit more aggressive and faster right out of the gate at the beginning of the moto. They worked on sprints all week long, and so far it seems to be paying off so early in the moto.
This week, see why Bruce Lee was considered the individual and how he changed the world. Don't miss the biggest names in sports and entertainment. Pay tribute to the master. Bruce Lee lives. Wednesdays at 10 Eastern and Pacific on Fuel TV. Justin Brayton trying to master this track, but he's got some competition. The 29 of Andrew Short on that KTM 350 is right behind him. Short in 6th, Brayton in 5th. And Tommy Hahn will be coming up next, Jeff.
Yeah, I'm really noticing the riders are starting to expand their lines here, trying to find some smooth sections on the track. It doesn't look like that the bumps out there are really that big, but I tell you, on this race surface, if you can miss those sections, it just increases your speed and your momentum so much. This track is very tricky, and notice this section right there in the middle where the soil's really light, right through there. Later on in the second moto, they're probably going to have to put down a little bit of water through those sections, and it's that. If you see those sections on the track, that's where the track is really hard and slippery and there's no traction.
Couple of Aussies scrapping here now. You got the 26 of Byrne in 8th and Reed in 9th. The gap was 0.8 of a second, but Reed has closed up a little bit more than that as they go up Horsepower Hill.
Notice Michael Byrne was on an hour left on the Suzuki there, just trying to find a smooth line up Horsepower Hill, just really riding the edge. And you notice Chad, too, he's going to always try a different line and not follow the leader here, once again, because of that roost. And he's been working this outside line right here.
Oh, that one didn't work, but does he ever have a choice, Jet? He just has to get creative?
Yeah, he's working hard. Now, you know Michael and Chad are pretty good buddies, but look at that. Chad just has got that hot line around the outside. Michael, of course, having one of his best races of the summer. That's going to put him back to 9th and Reed up to 8th.
Still, Reed would lose a ton of points if it were to end like this, although there's plenty of time to go. Look at the countdown clock top of the screen. We are not even at the halfway point of this race, and we'll have 2 laps beyond that. But for an end like this, Reeve would go from first in the series standings back to third, because we do pay series points in each moto. Meanwhile, Short has closed up to the rear fender of Brayton, trying to get into that top 5. Past the finish line area, that distinctive set of Supercross style whoops, and now the S-turns.
Which this section here used to be the start-finish line to the track some years ago. I have to start talking in decades now, actually. But it's a really difficult track because you go right, left back there, and you're always on the edge of the tire trying to find some smooth lines. But what an effort here by Andrew Short.
Short trying to get the 10. Switching from right side to left side. There's a mechanic, Frankie, cheering him on.
I think he's got him.
And this is where it hooks onto the start in this decade, and he takes over the 5th place spot. Aaron, what do you have on Short?
Andrew Short is riding with a rear suspension reservoir on that KTM this weekend. Him along with Mike Alessi. It's something that this is the first time that they've tested it out. It came from Austria, but Andrew Short tried it this morning. He said he absolutely loves it, and team manager Roger DeCoster said it's up to you. If you like it, you can use it today. If you don't, you don't.
Instead of reservoir to the reservoir.
Something like that. Yeah, I'm sure that they're adding some volume to the shock oil. Things like that, and just trying some new parts. And you know that with the addition of Roger DeCoster to the KTM team, that he brings a lot of experience, not only from his own racing back in the 60s and 70s and the multi-time world championships that he's notched, but one thing about Roger DeCoster, every team that he's gone to, he has led, coached, been the manager of. He has led them to the top of the mountain, to championships all the way through, and whether that's his ability to help with the bike, help with the technicians, the team members, and the mechanics, or gaining the confidence in the riders to hire the right riders and to give them the best equipment. So KTM on the upswing right now, and Andrew Short certainly showing some improvements this week.
Yeah, up into the top 5. One of the best runs this summer for Short. Dungey in 2nd, and did you see the green fender of the Kawasaki within sight? He is not letting Villopoto get away.
It started to close up. Dungey was a second faster than Ryan Villopoto last lap around. 2.4 seconds at the finish line.
Up Horsepower Hill, and this is the way it turned last week at Millville, Minnesota. First half of the second moto, Villopoto pulled away, and in the second half, Dungey reeled him back in, and that set up a fantastic race over the last few laps, and that's exactly what Dungey would like to have happen again, because he won that battle last week.
That was an impressive ride, and it's interesting, here you've got 2 different individuals. You've got Ryan Villopoto out front, who's had a couple of different trainers throughout his career. He's currently trained by Alden Baker, and Dungey, on the other hand, who is pretty much self-trained. And here they are performing very similar.
He's known as one of the fittest riders out there, doing it on his own, and we'll see if he can run down Villopoto and battle with him when we return.
TheHuts.com has the world's largest selection of snow soil AMA Pro Motocross.
Watch the best Kung Fu cult classic films every Saturday only on Fuel TV. Late night at 12 a.m. Eastern and Pacific. Go to fuel.tv for movie titles. Are they going to be? Are they going to be part of that?
That's not a black belt. That's a studded belt there.
Wow. Okay. They were doing some Kung Fu. All right. Speaking of that, we got a fight in our hands for the lead. Ryan Dungey has caught Ryan Villopoto, and this is a carbon copy of the last time these guys raced 1 week ago in Minnesota. Villopoto gets away, Dungey reels him back in, and now we have got a race on our hands, Jeff.
Dungey is definitely got the eye of the tiger at this point. You see Mike Williamson putting the board out for Villopoto. They also are getting into some lapped riders, and we saw earlier in the show here when Chad Reed was trying to make his way past riders that he was racing for position, but just how difficult it is at times to pass. Villopoto hasn't had to pass anyone until now, so we'll see how that affects him and how the lap riders respond to the blue flags as they get the flag signifying that the leader is coming by.
Now, Villopoto had an opportunity to make an excuse when he got caught by Dungey last week. They asked him after the race in the press conference, hey, did lappers hold you up? And he said, a little bit, but Dungey was the man to beat. He ran me down. I got hot. I got tired. if it happens 2 in a row here, does that start eating away at Dungey's or at Villopoto's confidence?
Yeah,
not able to hold a lead. Sorry.
Yeah, see right there, the 212 in that section. He in that tight S turn, you know, he's kind of racing for his own position. I'm gonna back him up on that. But when you see the leader come by, you really have to be aware of that. Take a look over your shoulder. Dungey lost just a couple of bike lengths right there. But hard racing here for the lead. You got to earn this thing all the way through.
That was Austin Albers. That was at 212. They were trying to get around. So for the moment, at least, Villopoto feeling some relief. But Dungey, and we know both these guys are in incredible shape. You mentioned before we go to break, you know, Villopoto's trainer, Alden Baker, arguably the best in the business, and Villopoto himself with 3 titles in the 250 class in his division. That obviously proves how strong he is. But Dungey, second half of these races, he has been strong.
He really has. And last lap around, they were about 11/10 of a second separated the two. So maybe this is going to fire Villopoto up. Sees the front fender of Dungey right there. Gets into a little lap riders. But right now is the time for him to get focused and stay strong mentally. Not making any mistakes. Keep hitting your marks. Think about what's in front of you. Okay? Try to focus on hitting all of your grooves nice and smooth. And not worry about what is behind you. And I know it's easy to say.
Let's see if the fans can boost Villopoto here as he goes up Power Hill. That might be the difference. Remember, Dungey had the home track fans powering him forward last week. And now it's Villopoto's crowd. And they want to see this guy get a win. He has never won the overall at this track. He has won some motos. And he's looking for another one here.
I know, and look at the way that he's riding. He is really just whipping the bike around, not really having any problems at all.
And into the S-turn, here's the crowd again.
Five minutes to go, Weege, plus 2 laps. If they are in the same position on the final lap, we may not even be able to hear those motorcycles. The fans are going to be on it.
You can see they are lining the fences, cheering on a kid they saw grow up at this track. 50cc bikes, 65cc bikes, and they want to see him get another win, but there's a long way to go. And meanwhile, with the 2 Ryans getting away like this, Chad Reed going to lose a whole bunch of points. We did have a chance to talk to Reed about what it is like to race Villopoto and Dungey for this championship.
I've always said right along, I'm racing, you know, 2 of the baddest dudes that I've raced on outdoors. I respect them hugely, and they're going to bring it every weekend. When you look at them, they're 2 very different people. And they get the job done very differently. So I think the 3 of us bring a flavor that is individually different, and I think that for me that's what makes it fun. I'm almost 30, you know, they're in their early 20s, and I find it fun. And for once in my career, I see that being older is a good thing, and I'm a little smarter, and I can see things that maybe they don't. And I'm hoping that that'll help me out on a weekend that I'm not at my best.
Well, it has helped thus far because Reed is the series points leader, but that might not last. The Ryans may grab that series lead away from him by the end of this moto. But the real question now is, what order will they finish this moto in? Villopoto leads Dungey, and looks to me, Jeff, that Villopoto has responded to the challenge.
Certainly has. And hey, this is what it's all about when you're working with your trainer or when you're doing your own training, like in Dungey's case, is you are preparing yourself for these moments of the race. You know, right now their heart rates are maxed out, breathing is wide open. Okay, body's starting to hurt a little bit, but this is a time when that relentless training and motos, you try to overcome the pain, you try to overcome the obstacles, and when you're out training by yourself on the track doing your laps, is start to get a little bit tired, but you cannot let the lap times slow down.
Here is Reed, who I believe still is in the number 8 position. So I was wondering if maybe the second half of this race, the race would begin to come to him like it has several times this year. It has not, at least not based on the standards that he had set the first half of this tour, where he basically was in the top 3 no matter what.
Yeah, I was keeping an eye on on trying to get a gauge here for Reed. He's turning a 2:13.9. And I was trying to said, okay, if he picks up his lap time a little bit, where's a good gap? And it was about 23 seconds to Metcalfe, who sets in 4th. But Metcalfe's turning a 2:12 and Reed's turning a 2:13. Brayton's in 6th at a 2:14. Hahn is in 7th with a 2:15, so it could tighten up right there for Reed.
More traffic for Villopoto. It slowed him up, and here comes Dungey again. Looking at 3, maybe 4 laps left in this moto. And Dungey's right where he wants to be. He has closed to the rear fender. This is his best shot at Villopoto since turn 2 of this race when he was right next to him.
Well, now's the point here where Dungey's this close. He's going to start taking a tremendous amount of roost. And you have 2 choices. You can either you know, dig in and, you know, take all that dirt that's coming off the back tire of Ryan Villopoto's bike and just try to tough it out and just put that pain out of your mind, or you're going to get close. It hurts, and then you back off once again. But just notice, he's not going to follow directly behind the number 2 on the way up Horsepower Hill. You are going to get a different line, I guarantee you.
Yeah, so you're talking about that dirt that is just being sprayed from Villopoto's back tire, and you say that of all the tracks on this circuit, this dirt hurts the worst.
Hey, during our private track walk, I picked up a piece of roost and I threw it at you. And it was like, you know.
Oh, that was for educational purposes.
Yeah, that was really, yeah.
Oh, well, Dungey picks the same line through here. And if he follows Villopoto, he's going to get hit by that stuff. Yeah, it gets real sharp, at least the one you found. And through these S-turns, though, does he have a choice? Does he have to stick with him?
Yeah, right through there. And Dungey is really quick through this section of the track right here. Hopefully Villopoto can use the crowd here to his advantage. They're cheering him on. They want to see the Washington native win this thing. But I keep wondering if Dungey, now that we're at the end of this 30-minute moto, plus 2 laps, if he's got into Villopoto's head a little bit, the fitness thing, okay?
Look at this, another new line from Dungey. He seems to be able to go wherever he wants and still maintain the pace and stay with him. Now just looking for an opening. Here we go.
You're looking at 2 of the world's best getting after it here at Washougal Motocross Park. Here you go, the whoop section heading into the finish line area.
This could decide this whole race, this section. We have seen passes coming down to the checkered flag before. It's not the last lap this time, but it still might be a pass for Dungey. He's on the outside, Villopoto the inside, and Villopoto beats him to it.
2 different lines through the S-turns. Oh, and Dungey goes down.
Grabbed a handful of throttle and lost the back end, and that should do it. And Villopoto got away with that one. Dungey almost made the pass. Villopoto shut the door. And you know what? You can look at the results at the end of this, and you'll never know that Dungey was there to challenge. Unbelievable.
Dungey turned a 2:10.9, and Villopoto was a 2:11.3, so it was about 4/10 of a difference, 4/10 of a gap. And let's take a look at the replay, how all this went down. And it was all set up by Dungey's charge through the whoops. But right here, he says, okay, I can't make it on the inside. Now I'm going to go way here to the outside. Tries to dig in, but the cushion was not there to hold him. As he got in there, said it looks deep, but it was really hard pack underneath it there. This thing isn't over, Jason. We still have 2.5 laps to go, and but I doubt if Dungey's going to put on the type of charge here with this gap. Certainly would have lost close to 8 seconds, 5 to 8 seconds on a fall like that.
What that illustrates to me is the kind of power these bikes have if it's misplaced. That was unbelievable how quickly that bike came around, and Dungey almost tangled.
I think he clipped him
in midair. There was Astavkin, who he ran into, Stefan Astavkin, who came into collision with in midair.
That's the Russian rider, right?
One of them, yeah. We got a couple out here. Now, here's Alessi. He was our Fuel TV one to watch. He is in 9th. And what did Alessi say he needed to run for the podium at the beginning of our show? He needed a start. That has been his specialty in the past, but he didn't get one in this moto. And he's lucky to even get up into the top 10. Ooh, mistake from Alessi, but he has had to work to get into the top 10 after that bad start. So what has Alessi's season been like? We had a chance to talk to him about trying to get up on that podium.
What it's going to take to be on the podium is getting good starts, obviously. You know, the top 3 guys right now, Reed, Dungey, and Villopoto, they seem like they're always up front. And, you know, their bikes are good, obviously. So it's going to take a good start, running with the guys up front and trying to match that pace, you know, at least for half the race and being there with them. and to be there at the end of the race. Be consistent lap times, be smart, no mistakes, and ride good, and then put myself in a good position. You know, if they do make a mistake or something happens, that I'm there to be there to capitalize and try and be on the podium. It's going to be tough. I mean, obviously the guys are going fast, so I just got to put myself in a good position and get good starts and keep myself out of trouble.
Well, the start is always key for Alessi. That is his trademark, the whole shots. They have not been there this year very often. But what I noticed in that soundbite is he said the goal is to get a good start running them for a while and hope they make a mistake. So he's not planning on going out there and beating these guys top three straight up.
No, pretty much conceding the top three to the points. But hey, I mean, in AMA Motocross, anything could happen. This is Chad Reed, your points leader, who has been almost perfect all year long. And when he didn't get to start, he would always be able to ride up into about a third or fourth at least. He's setting in 8th place right now, turning a 2:13. Only about a second off of his fastest, but actually hasn't been able to pick up much time.
I think we've got a pass made. He's got the 12 of Hahn right behind him. Yeah, they just passed a stripe, so that will put Reed up to 7.
Ooh, and lap times really took a hit. Reed was a 2:15 and Hahn a 2:18.
Wow.
So Hahn dropped about 4 seconds on that lap. Coincidentally, that would drop him from 7th to 8th and give Reed another point.
Okay, so Reed salvaging points in this one. He's not able to run for the victory in this moto or even the podium, but just trying to score points. And meanwhile, with Villopoto and Dungey making up max points in front of him, that should probably bump Reed back to 3rd in the series standings when this moto is done. But how many times this year and throughout the career of Chad Reed have we thought, all right, this might be a signal and this guy is about to head to the back, and then next thing you know, he rebounds stronger than ever. So don't count Chad Reed out until this series is done and they've officially handed the plate to somebody else.
Yeah, the way it's set right now, Reed would need a 4th with Villopoto winning to keep the points lead in this moto.
Don't forget, this is a 2-moto format. We will have our second motos live on Speed coming up tonight. So Reed will have an opportunity to get some points back a little bit later today. Right now, though, Ryan Villopoto is going to make the home track fans happy because he's going to get the win. But like I alluded to, if he wins this one by a couple of seconds over Dungey, those results will not indicate the fact that they were battling 2 laps ago, and Dungey almost had the pass made. So maybe we're set up for a possible rematch later today in Moto 2, because Dungey definitely had the speed to run with Villopoto.
Wow, look at that line. Villopoto using the same line Michael Byrne used earlier in the race there, just really getting off to the edge of the track. You can see up here, this is a loop and a drop-off that hasn't been used in years. We had some rain this week, and so they felt confident enough that they could get enough irrigation and water up there to not have it be too dusty, but starting to dry out in some spots. But this area down here on this Lucas Oil drop-off, it seems to never dry up through there. It's always perfect because of the shadows. You know, the canopies from these trees just keep some of those sections just the dirt just moist all day long. But the shadows also, they make it really tough when you're going from the bright areas here, where there's lots of sunshine, into the darker areas. Plays tricks with your eyes.
Boy, he is, you're not kidding, Jeff. He is going to the left of the track, all the way to the right, all the way back to
really
the left.
was
wow.
Left to right.
As far as you can go. Now, you said this track is a little bit narrower than others in spots. So, I guess a little bit easier to get to the left and right, but using every inch of it.
Yeah, you see Ryan taking a look over his left shoulder there, trying to figure out just where Dungey's at. Dungey's 8 seconds behind right now. So as I predicted, that fall was going to cost him a little bit. But white flag out.
Well, for Villopoto, he probably doesn't know what happened to Dungey. He just knows he's got the checkered flag and the win here at Washougal. Here comes Dungey, 2nd place. But he knows he had the stuff to potentially go for the W. But it was in this turn that they're approaching right here. He went to the outside, grabbed too much throttle, lost it back in. We're looking forward to another classic Ryan versus Ryan battle later today in Moto 2. That one will be live on Speed. But for the moment, Ryan Villopoto, the man to beat, not only in this moto, but we believe he will take over the series points lead by virtue of that victory in another tough race for Chad Reed. And it has been a long comeback road for Villopoto, who was a little bit off the pace of the leaders in the first few rounds, but he is back in a big way. And 3rd place, Trey Canard going to put it on the podium again. Got to be happy with that.
Yeah, 46 seconds behind the leader, though. They're flying.
They really are. And Canard said he knows that championship intensity is pushing the Ryans to another level. Stay with us.
Wednesdays, 10.
Fans are pumped here in Washougal, Washington, because Washington's own Ryan Villopoto has won the first moto. And let's show you exactly how that happened. Here's our race recap. Villopoto going to nail the start here, but he's got his rival Ryan Dungey right with him. See the 2 on the green and the 1 in yellow. And Villopoto's going to edge Dungey out in this right-hander up the legendary Horsepower Hill, and the race was on. Meanwhile, Chad Reed, a terrible start outside the top 10. Here he makes a move on Jimmy Albertson on the 108 to get inside the top 10, but Reed would only be able to climb to 7th by the end of this one. Here he is making a pass on Michael Byrne in the same spot, just trying to salvage points. Definitely coming in here battered and bruised after last week's big crash. Now Dungey goes for the lead on Villopoto, can't get it there, and then watch this. Grabs too much throttle in an area where he just couldn't find the traction, goes down, and that allowed Villopoto to escape with a big lead down to the finish and a win in Moto 1. There you see Dungey on the 1. Final margin of victory, 7 seconds. And we'll show you the rest of the results. Trey Canard going to put his American Honda racing machine up on the podium in 3rd behind the Ryans. Another solid run for Brett Metcalfe in 4th. Andrew Short, one of his best races of the year, in 5th. Brayton leads Reed home. Hahn, Alessi, and Byrne round out the top 10. And we're heading down to the podium with Aaron Bates. Aaron?
This crowd is going absolutely crazy for Ryan Villopoto. And Ryan, we almost witnessed a carbon copy of what we saw last weekend with Ryan Dungey closing in on you late in the race. Can you come back stronger, and how much did lappers play a part in this first race?
You know, the track's always a little bit tough here, a little bit slippery. So when you do catch up to the lappers, it makes it hard to get around them. But you know, had a great first race. You know, we'll go back, talk about some things, figure out if we want to change anything. But you know, the Monster Energy Kawasaki Dunlop tires got me off to a good start, and you know, hopefully we get a win this next moto.
Ryan Villopoto one step closer to taking that first overall here.
All right, so that's our winner. We'll be back in a moment to talk to some of our other podium dwellers. Villopoto hope that he can turn this moto win into an overall later today.
Welcome back to Washougal. 450 Moto 1 in the books. Ryan Villopoto took the win, and Ryan Dungey picking up 2nd place. Ryan, we witnessed you lose traction out there on a late race attack against Ryan Villopoto. Can you take us through what happened?
Well, I got off to a good start. I was right behind Villopoto. He opened up a little bit in the beginning, but I was able to close it. But, you know, once I got behind him, I was trying different lines. It was kind of tough to get by, and I thought I had the pass squeaked, and he ended up shutting me off, but went around the outside of the turn, and I lost my rear. But good moto. Really looking forward to it. We had a good little pace going. Just got to thank the rock star, Mikita Suzuki, man above, all the fans, and everybody. Thank you.
I like this one. I like big talk. I like big sports. I like big tunes. That's why I watch Daily Habit. Wildest late night party on television, weeknights at 11 Eastern and Pacific, only on Fuel TV. Let's send it back down to Aaron with Trey Canard. Aaron?
Trey Canard got his 450 debut out of the way last weekend, finished on the podium. Trey, you got 1 week to go home and figure out, gauge yourself against your competitors. How much improvements can be made in 1 week?
I mean, it's tough, especially when these guys have so much momentum through the series. And you know, we're just taking baby steps right now, you know, trying not to get ahead of ourselves, but at the same time pushing as much as we can. So just thankful to be up here, and again, got to give it up to the Lord Jesus Christ and Honda, Geico, Showa, Fly Racing, Alpine Star, Scott Goggles, Sliep Brace, and DC Shoes. Man, I'm just stoked.
Congratulations on a job well done.
Let's show you our upcoming scheduled events here on this tour. Fuel TV, of course, bringing you a highlight show every Thursday night after the race. So that'll be July 28th, this Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern with the highlights. Have a couple weekends off, and then we'll be back live at 12:30 p.m. Eastern time from Unadilla in New Berlin, New York. The highlight show Thursday night after that, and then Southwick, Massachusetts after another break. That'll be live at 1 p.m. Eastern time. All the 250 and 450 first motos for the entire season live on Fuel TV. Now, this series has been so exciting in the 450 class. It's reminding folks of the last time we had a down-to-the-wire championship fight. Go back to 2007 when Grant Langston basically came from out of nowhere to snatch his championship. And we'll have more talk about that when we return. Stay with us.
Enter.
After a victory in Moto 1 at the 2007 Washougal National, James Stewart's march to an inevitable title came to a crashing halt when he would twist his knee while leading in Moto 2. The Haines City, Florida rider would be done for the season, and a good old-fashioned free-for-all would take place over the next 4 rounds to see who would be champ. Washougal overall winner Tim Ferry was the de facto points leader, but 4 riders were now within 29 points of the lead. In his final ride, Ricky Carmichael would win in Millville. But Yamaha's Grant Langston was best in class and pulled within 11 points of Kawasaki's Tim Ferry and Honda's Andrew Short, who were now tied atop the standings. The South African Langston would win at Steel City and Freestone to take control of the points lead. Going into the final race at Glen Helen, Langston held an 8-point lead over Andrew Short. Tim Ferry was 13 down, and Mike Alessi was in 4th, 15 markers off the lead. At the season finale, Langston captured the AMA crown with a 1-3 finish, good for 45 points and his 3rd consecutive overall. Through the season's first 15 motos, Grant Langston had finished no better than 3rd in any given moto and was a distant 4th in points when Stewart got hurt. In the final 9 motos of the campaign, Grant never finished off the podium and captured the final 3 races to become the 2007 AMA champion.
One of the wildest series we have ever seen in the 40-year history of this tour, although this 2011 championship might go down as one that could match it by the time it is over. It has been spectacular so far, and we're going to be excited to bring you more action. We'll have our 250 Moto 1 coming up in just a moment, and a big crowd here to enjoy it, including Josh Harris from Deadliest Catch, who is here to catch some of the action. And don't forget, we'll have live motos on speed later tonight. So wall-to-wall coverage with more from the 250 class coming up next.
Has this ever happened to you?
Great racing in Millville, Minnesota. No surprise who is battling up front. It's been the mean green Kawasaki's who have been dominating this tour. A brief challenge from Kyle Cunningham on the Yamaha. Justin Barsha, a crash. Teammate Eli Tomac struggled. Darren Durham had problems in the heat and humidity. And it all opened the door for more victories for more Kawasaki's. Tyler Rattray taking the win, followed by his teammate Dean Wilson and Blake Baggett. To give you the big picture storylines we're going to follow in our 250 class at Moto 1 coming up right now. First, Dean Wilson needs to win a race. He has been the points leader for the majority of this season, but still hasn't gotten an overalls. Won a lot of motos, has been second, I believe, 7 races in a row. That's crazy. So he wants a victory. Kyle Cunningham and this Star Racing Yamaha team has been the closest to getting on the podium. He's been 4th the last couple of races. He would like to break through and break up that Kawasaki sweep. Maybe today is the day for the 35. And his teammate, Ryan Sipes, was the fastest in qualifying. So if the 35 Yamaha can't get it done, maybe the 25 will. Yes, as you can tell, we are desperately looking for someone to challenge that sweep of the 3 Kawasaki riders up front. All right, so we have our live 250 Moto 1 coverage when we return. So don't go anywhere. Keep it locked in to Fuel TV.
Has this ever happened to you?
The Columbia River Gorge welcomes you to the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. We're only a few minutes away from that area at Washougal Motocross Park, and we'll give you the facts on this track. First AMA event going back just over 30 years now. We had an anniversary here last year. Horsepower Hill and the ski jump you'll see in a moment. Let's go to the track map brought to you by Kawasaki and the 2012 KX450F, fully equipped and race ready. Jeff Emig, give us a tour.
Well, let's hope these 250 riders are race ready, because this points chase is tight. Telling you, get through the first turn clean, and then it's up Horsepower Hill, and you want to be first because you're going to take lots of roost if you're not. Up and down the hills, down the Lucas Oil ski jump, drop off, of course, tight S-turns, get back into some of the tree areas, some big flyaway tabletops and doubles, make that tight right-hander over the whoop section to the Lucas Oil finish line. Of course, down by the old start-finish line area, That's going to bring you back around to the Makita Mechanics area, and that's the track map here at Washougal.
Hey, look who's finally back in action. We're going to show you Marvin Musquin, what happened to him at round 2. He is on the left side of the screen on your orange bike. Justin Barcia goes down and, oh!
Bike comes up and hits him, and look at this. It breaks his thumb with a couple bones in his hand.
Well, he's back, and he is our one to watch in this first 250 moto. Let's go racing. And it looks like Barcia, the 17's got himself another hole shot and stays upright. But the 57 of Blake Baggett takes it away as they head to Horsepower Hill. Baggett struggled with his starts last week in Minnesota. Much better this time. And you said they're flyaway. Oh, Austin Howell, the 61, is down on the Suzuki City Arma machine.
I'll tell you, Barcia, he has not struggled with his starts. That's got to be upwards of 7 or 8 hole shots now.
Bunch of other riders down. Jason Anderson, 156. Sean Lepanovich, 505. And I believe that was Cole Seeley on the Lucas Oil Troy Lee Honda, who's down as well. So they've got a long way to go. Baggett leading. And no surprise who's behind him, your fast qualifier, Ryan Sipes on the Yamaha.
Ryan Sipes has had such an interesting year. He has been so fast, but he has no top 5 overalls. A lot of times his speed ended up with him hitting the ground and actually not even finishing some of the races. But he's looking to be a little more consistent and make it to each checkered flag today, along with showing what type of speed he can lay down there on that DNA Shred Sticks Yamaha.
All right, and behind him is Lance Vincent, I believe, on the 245. Vincent was Barcia's teammate a few weeks ago, but now switching back to the privateer bike. Geico had an opening till Will Hahn returned. He is on the Ankle Savers Moto Innovations machine in 3rd. Barcia is 4th with the Geico Honda, and there is another one of the Lucas Troy Lee Hondas. Oh, and Vincent gets sideways before the whoops. He's going to lose some ground.
And take a look, if we see the Lucas Oil Honda come by, their bikes are actually blue this week. Nice, bright blue. Not sure what that signifies, but certainly stands out on the track.
Yeah, you'll see in a moment. That's Travis Baker coming through. And there is Sipes. Sipes has taken over the lead. We were watching that battle, and then the mistake from Vincent, and Sipes not only grabs the lead and pulls away, but Baggett almost threw it away.
Yeah, and Jason, that's going to be the story here now that the track started to dry out a little bit.
Oh, Vincent.
Vincent down, so 2 mistakes here is going to drop him out of the top 5.
Wow. And goes from bad to worse quickly for him.
Bars look a little tweaked on that bike, but
Sipes. Wow. Has 1.3 seconds on Baggett at the end of lap 1. Barcia in 3rd. 4th is Cunningham, so more good starts from the Yamahas. Then you got Tyler Rattray, last week's winner, lurking.
Did you see how far Baker jumped over the top there? All the way to the bottom, trying to make the move on Tyler Rattray. Rattray's been strong, though, this season. He has been so dominant. Only a 5.5 at Butts Creek. That's his worst motos. 5.5 for a 5th.
All right, so we're waiting for the 15 of Dean Wilson. That's your title contender who you do not see. 13th at the end of lap 1. So you were talking about Rattray. There he is. He's up front. Baggett certainly has a good start as well, but your 3rd title contender has got his work cut out for him. But we've been waiting to see who could step up and maybe take a moto win, if not an overall, away from the Cowies. Today you got 2 Yamahas and a Honda up front. Sipes leading. You got a good start also for the 17 of Barcia, and also Kyle Cunningham in the mix. You've got Davalos battling it out with Baker now. And let's see if Davalos can make the move. The Rockstar Suzuki almost comes in contact with that Lucas Oil Troy Lee Honda. And here we go, down toward the finish line area.
Side by side. I don't, this is a one-line section. How are they riding next to each other? I don't understand it.
Look at how close this pack is. Cunningham at 35, 28 of Rattray, 58 Baker, 23 Davalos, 387. Another one of the Yamahas. That is Swanepoel.
I tell you what, I love it. I love this class. I love seeing that these riders, there's quite a bit of difference here in age group and experience in this class. Okay, and you're seeing 5 different manufacturers represented, multiple different teams. Honda's got a few teams out there. Suzuki's got a few teams. And, of course, Kawasaki, they've got number 15 here, Dean Wilson, your points leader.
So Wilson, that's why he has the red plate leading the series, but a little bit of a bad start here. Oop, little mistake, doesn't lose much ground. The good news for Wilson, I think, is that there are a bunch of riders in front of him, so he's got the opportunity to make passes, but they're not going to be easy to get around.
But it's crazy. You look at the lap times. You got Wilson, who's in 11th at a 2:17, and Sipes leading a 2:13. But in between there, the lap times are all over the place right now. And there is Roos flying up for about a, let's see, Wilson's 12 seconds behind the leader. There's 12 seconds of just a constant, it's like Pigpen out there. You know, the dirt's just flying everywhere.
Wilson has Musquin right behind him, so he's got company from all angles. Look at this. Got a pass being made here. Tommy Week on the 55 getting around Swanepoel. That'll move him up to 8th. We were watching Week in practice. He was really aggressive, if not overly aggressive, but also very fast, and that has paid off for the number 55 at the moment. There he is on the red bike, getting around Swanepoel on the blue. In front of them is that battle between Baker and Davalos.
Well, no doubt, Tommy Week, he qualified 8th today. Incredible effort.
Aaron, do we know anything about the 55? What do you have on it?
Well, guys, he's actually from Seattle, and this is the only race that he races all year long. He lives, eats, and breathes basically at this track. He's been friends with the owners for a very long time. He has no support. He's got everything set up just how he likes it, so he says, but he's definitely a privateer out there. But the one thing that he did say is on this track, he expects a podium today.
Wow.
That's big.
Well, and I believe that he's married to the daughter of the track owners.
Wow.
If I remember correctly, that's the deal. But right now, he's got the line. He's got local knowledge, whatever it is.
Davalos got around Baker, and then Week gets around Baker as well, and they did it in that one-line section where you're not supposed to be able to make passes. Davalos is 6th. That'll move Week 7th, and then Baker 8th. Behind them, Swanepoel 9th, and then it's Malcolm Stewart at the number 10 spot, and then the battle between Wilson and Musquin. I can barely keep up with all this action. Week is not done. He wants to go after Davalos.
Yeah, he's bouncing around right now. He's definitely putting in a huge effort here. And if you're going to race one race a year, you have to leave it all on the table. Okay, this is it. There's no next week. I mean, he's been on the pro circuit. That's why he's got a top 100 number here. He's a talented rider, but it's great to see him have an opportunity to just show his stuff here. And he's going to have to get moving because I'm telling you, your points leader 15, there's no doubt that he's going to be coming through the pack as this race goes on.
Yeah, he has gotten around Malcolm Stewart on that Suzuki, the 139, now going after the 387 of Swanepoel as they drop back down into those tight S-turns.
Really, the lines kind of converge right there as they come out of the turn. You get tempted to go to the outside, and we've seen that earlier in the program here as Chad Reed was trying to make some moves. And when you get down there on that outside turn, you cut in. The inside's just right there.
And, we got a problem here for Baker, the 58. He goes down. Musquin gets by him, and Darren Durham tries to get by, and Durham.
Oh,
that's
unbelievable.
He got the worst of that, I'd say.
Yeah, as he was actually going to pick off a rider, one of the easiest passes of the day, but when he chose to go to the inside, just did not work out for him.
Now Baggett has put it back together. He had the lead, he lost it. He has caught back up to Sipes, so we have a race for the lead. But look at the distance they've put on third place. Barsha, it's a private duel right now. Sipes on the 25, Baggett on the 57. You got to give credit to this Star Racing team, and I'm going to put a lot of it on their new team manager this year, Alan Brown. Used to manage the old Moto XXX privateer team. This team has really stepped up their game this summer, and they got some wins in Supercross with Sipes. They want to win outdoors with him, but Baggett is not going to make it easy.
Well, Bobby Regan, the team owner here, I talked to him last week some, says he's so happy with not only his riders that he has on board, but that's pass for the lead.
What a quick move, and he's back into the #1 spot. Baggett, a lot of people theorize he would be just crushing it this year off the starts because he's so lightweight. Most of his damage he has done coming through the pack. He did get the whole shot in this moto, and then he lost the lead anyway. It's almost like he's not comfortable unless he has to make some passes. Now he's putting distance between himself and Sipes, and Barsha hanging tough in third. And lots of racing yet to go, especially in one of the most exciting classes in all of motocross. Stay with us.
The Lucas Oil
got a Kawasaki KX 250F leading this 250 class, and it is Blake Baggett trying to bounce back after what is for him a subpar performance last weekend in Minnesota, where he picked up a pair of third-place finishes for third overall. Today he is running first in our first moto. See the countdown clock at the top of the screen. We will race for 30 minutes and 2 laps, and we are nearing the halfway point. He has just turned in the fastest lap of this moto. He turned to 2:11, then backed it down a bit to a 2:12, but either way it's a 7-second lead.
He's absolutely flying, and Baggett's hoping to add his name to the list of champions that Pro Circuit and Kawasaki have turned out. He needs some points, though, because he's been a little bit up and down this season, where his teammate, Dean Wilson, has been Mr. Consistent. And somewhere in the middle has been the 28 here of Tyler Rattray.
Battle right here between Sipes on the 25 and the 17 of Barcia. Barcia trying to get to the inside on Horsepower Hill. Can't make it happen. Why do they call it Horsepower Hill? We'll take a look. You got a drag race on the top, but Jeff, you pointed out earlier today, there is a little more technique to it than just rolling the right wrist back.
Well, there is that one little hump about a third of the way up, okay, and to keep the horsepower on the ground, keep the rear tire, and to keep it driving all the way up the hill is a real technique here. And especially when you get into the smaller bore engines like these 250Fs.
Another drop away jump. They'll negotiate it together.
Nothing doing.
Sipes, look at the effort he put in to get from one end of the track to the other and stop Barcia from making a pass. And Barcia will try again. And they're side by side again. And Barcia's going to be on the inside this time. I don't know if Sipes can beat him to it. No, he cannot.
Sipes seems to have lost a little bit of his aggressiveness at this point. Definitely lost some speed. Last time around, Sipes was a 2:18 and the leader was a 2:12. Of course, Sipes' best time in qualifying was a 2:10. And he just turned to 2:18, so quite a bit off the pace.
And he is still trying, though, to get Barcia back. Then you got Tommy Week, who is still there. Then Gareth Swanepoel. And look at this. Sipes has responded almost as if he wanted to show Jeff Emig he has not lost any aggression.
Hey, I like
he had like a bad lap, and all of a sudden he's picked it back up.
Now look at Barcia around the outside before the whoops. Let's see if he gets on top. Looks like, nope, Sipes drops in first.
But they've got company. Week on the 55 has caught them. Well, he said there is no next week for Week. You might as well just lay it all out there, and he's doing that right now. Face full of roost coming up from the rear tire of Barcia. He shrugs that off. He might have Barcia and Sipes collide here. They are slowing each other up. And Week on the 55 might get them both.
He's not wasting any time. He is using all the track, trying to find all the smooth lines. He knows where he can go and can't go. Look at this. I think he's got Barcia here.
Woo, he does. He makes the pass. Now Barcia tries to get him back. On the left-hander, Week holds him off. And we're heading to Horsepower Hill again. Now, Jeff, you're talking about that bump. They have to negotiate halfway up. Here we go.
Let's see what sort of horsepower the privateer bike of Week has. Notice he wheelies over that first one. He's got a good drive, but not close enough to that Cosworth-powered Yamaha.
Oh, Barcia on 17 trying to get Week back. Where did Week find that line on the outside?
I'm telling you, he's probably ridden lots of local races here where the track preparation wasn't as good as it is today, and he knows that there's some outside cushions there that he can use.
Unbelievable the pressure he is applying on Sipes. And I don't know if Sipes knows it's Week or Barcia. It doesn't matter. Week has got the spot.
Listen to the crowd. They're loving it. The local boy just making the moves.
Out of nowhere. Literally was not racing all summer long. And now finds himself into the top 5. And they've got company, by the way, from Wilson, as well as Barcia tries to get Sipes for the second time in 2 laps and does. And this is where Sipes got Barcia back 1 lap ago. Barcia going to try to protect that inside. Not going to let Sipes get it.
Sipes had a line coming down through here last lap, though, that really had some momentum coming through there. And it is so difficult because when we walked the track earlier, Jason, remember how wet and soft it was? It was like wet clay, you know, when you're trying to mold some clay as you come down through that shaded and shadowed area. Wilson, though, has been battling so hard. He's finally up to 8th place right now. Wilson 20 seconds off of the lead.
But right there, he's trying to get Swanepoel. They almost come together. Wilson makes the pass on the South African, and now he is set up to challenge Sipes, Barsha, and Week. Unbelievable racing in this first 250 moto. It's just hovering around the top 5, though. Your leader, Blake Baggett, getting away. Cunningham, Rattray, top 3. But every position behind that is heavily contested. And if you're Dean Wilson, you need to put on a charge for those positions. Those are valuable championship points with your teammates running in front of you at the moment. Got to come out here and check out Multnomah Falls and everything else here in the area. Come join us next year live. We'll be right back.
You don't have to go.
Welcome back to the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship live on Fuel TV. You're watching the 15, your series points leader, Dean Wilson, trying to slice and dice his way through traffic, trying to master this racetrack. And speaking of that, Bruce Lee lives this week. See why Bruce Lee was considered the individual and how he changed the world. So don't miss the biggest names in sports and entertainment pay tribute to the master. Bruce Lee lives Wednesdays at 10 p.m. Eastern and Pacific, only on Fuel TV. It's like Wilson has gotten around the duo on the Yamahas of both Swanepoel and Sipes. There's still one more Yamaha that would be in front of him, though, and that is Kyle Cunningham, who is second. Looking back at Sipes here, the 25 led a couple of laps early and was fastest in qualifying, but not able to make it last today.
Yeah, his lap times have ranged from 2:13 to around 2:18, so he lost his way a little bit, got a little bit unfocused, but he has dropped his lap time back down to a 2:16, kind of stabilized right now in 6th place.
Looking at the 139 of Malcolm Stewart, he is 9th. Behind that battle we just saw, we saw the two Yamahas, Sipes and Swanepoel. Then it's the Suzuki of Stewart, who's actually been the top Suzuki in a lot of the motos this year. The Rockstar Suzuki team has struggled a bit, but this Arna Suzuki City team, which is more of a privateer type effort, they do get some support. They've got to be happy with what young Malcolm Stewart has done. Then we've got Brock Tickle, another bad start for Tickle, trying to work his way into the top 10. He's just gotten there. And Gannon Audette, the 4th member of that Star Racing Yamaha team, is right behind him. Really, the Supercross champions of Barsha and Tickle, who came in here we thought would be championship favorites outdoors, have not been able to transfer that indoor mojo into the outdoor stuff.
Yeah, that has been odd. And if you remember here with Tickle on that West Coast, I mean, that was Eli Tomac.
He has struggled too.
Came in with a lot of high expectations. And right now, way down the line.
We're watching Gannon Audette here in the number 11 spot. He is a rookie, and that team, Star Racing, wants to get him into the top 10, and he is darn close. Lance Vincent there is now a lap down after a crash early, and then it's the 125 of Marvin Musquian, the Frenchman, who we were wondering where would his fitness be in his first race back. Well, maybe not quite where he wanted it to be. Remember, he was behind Dean Wilson earlier, and once Wilson started charging forward, Musquian not quite able to match that.
Yeah, he started off the championship at Hangtown with a 4.6 for 5th overall. Like, okay, got my feet wet. I can run with these guys. And had that injury at the 2nd round, and but it's great to see him back. But it's tough to jump into a championship at this point.
Well, we had a chance to talk to the very friendly Frenchman this morning about his comeback to racing.
Almost ready to go out there for sure, and really exciting to be here. And yeah, all the team, my mechanic, my bike was waiting for me, and yeah, almost 100% ready. And my hand is very strong now. Just my thumb, it's I mean, the tendon was a little bit damaged, and it's hard to getting 100%. But I cannot bend the first piece of my thumb, but it's all right for riding. It's okay. And yeah, I feel good. I trained hard during my when I was injured, and yeah, now I'm ready to go. I'm ready to racing, and it's all what I do, so it's good.
And Musquian was supposed to race Supercross this year as well, and tore his ACL in November, so that he missed the entire indoor tour with a knee injury, and then got one race in outdoors before breaking his thumb. It's been a tough year.
Yeah, and I tell you, watching his riding, his lines right there, he's trying to miss the bumps right now too. No doubt that every time he hits a bump, there's a pain in that hand.
All right, watch the 17 of Barcia. He has his old buddy, Dean Wilson, closing in on him, as well as the 55 of Tommy Week. Week was in front of Barcia for a moment. Barcia has gotten it back. Wilson, he is seeing 4 championship points in front of him. He doesn't see 2 Hondas. He sees championship points. That's what he wants to get. He needs to make passes, and he's doing it right now. He gets Week on the downhill, off the ski jump. And now his buddy Justin Barcia in front of him. These guys have run into each other several times this year. Will it happen again, or can he execute a clean pass? It just seems like no matter how the motos shape up, you're going to get some drama between the 17 and the 15. We'll see if they can put that aside right now.
Well, this is the type of track that you may have to use a tight line, but Wilson right now, 213. Barcia was a 215, so Wilson's quite a bit quicker right now. But Barcia, he puts up a fight. He's not giving up any of those positions. He's put in a pretty good ride here, though.
Well, especially he doesn't want to give it up to the 15. He and Wilson don't really get along very well. Here's Wilson going to try the outside into the whoops, Jeff.
Yeah, watch the different lines. Now, Wilson was trying to get on top and skim across. Looks like he had some pretty good momentum as he closes right up on the back of Barcia.
And there he is to the inside. Can't make it work. And now going to try the outside. That's where Dungey was in our 450 moto. Wilson wisely tucks it in a little tighter than that. Doesn't make the pass, but he doesn't go down.
Look at the lines that these riders, they're zigzagging all over the place, not committing to the inside or the outside. But Barcia doing such a fine job out there, riding with a broken nose after that get off last week.
Yeah, that wasn't applied by Wilson, by the way. That was a racing incident.
Yeah,
totally different.
Wilson wasn't even near him.
Okay. All the way to the outside goes Barcia. All the way to the inside goes Wilson. And amazingly, it works out almost identical on speed. So we'll drag race up Horsepower Hill in a battle for the number 4 position.
That's what I've found to be really interesting when we're watching these riders, and Week was doing the same thing, is that you don't really have a rider that says, okay, I'm riding the insides today. I'm choosing to just take whatever the rough inside line, but it's the shortest way. Or, you know what, I'm staying out of all the bumps, and I'm taking all of the outsides. They're not really committed one way or the other. They're just really using up every inch of the track at different times.
Here goes Wilson on the drop away. A little mistake at the top for Barcia. Oh,
don't want to hit
able to hold him off.
You don't want to hit a kicker coming off of the sky jump there, I can tell you that.
You don't want to go Chad Reed on it, and that's exactly what happened if
that
you
would
let go of the bike.
Ridiculous.
Nice. Okay. And Week is still not too far behind him if these two hook it up like they usually do. It's a great battle inside the top 5. Has this ever happened to you? A shakeup here in our battle between Justin Barcia and Dean Wilson. Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship from Washougal, Washington. Wilson was all over the 17. And then what happened, Jeff?
Yeah, watch what happens here. A very technical part of the track. And there's some really deep ruts down here. Watch Wilson. He gets down in this, and as he buries the bike at the midpoint here, watch what happens. His foot hits, kind of sticks, and then that pulls his left, forces, essentially his left heel to be driven backwards, pushing him off the bike.
Now, last week we were theorizing with the ruts that Wilson, being one of the taller riders, would have a big boot and we would get caught in those ruts, but we stand corrected.
He texted me after the show on Sunday and said, look, I only wear a size 9, so stop giving me grief. But right there, that's a good explanation there, a good example, I mean, of a longer legs in a deep rut like that. There just wasn't enough room for him to get his leg and everything in front of the bike and under the handlebar without having a little problem.
Here's Blake Baggett, your leader, has a 9.3 second gap now over his teammate Rattray, who has climbed up to the number 2 spot. But Baggett, who's still not quite 100% after a shoulder injury that he suffered while practicing and testing in California a few weeks ago, but 100% enough to lead this one.
Yeah, and we talked earlier weeks that I believe this is a track that if you execute everything perfectly, you can make a really easy day out of the Washougal National. It can be a relatively, I mean, the temperature is only around 80 right now. Beautiful day, not so hot and humid like we've had. So if you go and you ride a very skilled, technical race, like what he's doing here, may not use a lot of energy. If he doesn't take any really hard hits, may not bother his shoulder. But it's when you do everything wrong, you hit every bump on the track, you come up short on doubles, you fall down, that's when it's going to get a lot more physical for you.
And waiting for his teammate, who would be in the number 2 position, Rattray. There he is. And the methodical performance we expected from the South African was outside the top 5 early and then just started picking riders off. Didn't blitz them, but did it the right way. Here's how he gets around Cunningham, Jeff.
Down the drop-off here, the Lucas Oil drop-off just has a wheel on Cunningham, and you know it. When a guy's got you know it. Sometimes you're gonna try to stick it in there and drop your left shoulder and just see if you can get that guy to kind of high side. But right then, Cunningham said, "Nah, he's got the wheel on me. He's gonna have to take it."
So Rattray not going to win this moto unless there's a major problem for Baggett, but he could be the winner in the series. He'll make up points on Wilson, who after that crash is stuck in 5th.
Yeah, Wilson had 289 points. Baggett 284. So see, there was a 5-point difference. Baggett's going to make up 3 points here this moto, the difference between 1st and 2nd.
Baggett was 3rd in the points coming in. It's Rattray, he lost a bunch last week, and he was 21 back, I think, at the end of last week. We'll straighten out when this moto is over and tell you where they are. The bottom line is this. Baggett's going to score 25 points in this one. Rattray's going to score 22, and Wilson in 5th. He gets 16, so he would make up 9 points on Wilson right here, right now, and that would be a significant distance. So here he is flying away down the ski jump into the S-turns. As far as his shoulder injury, we couldn't quite get it right. Last week he told Aaron Bates, I don't know what the injury is, and then after the race, he told me, yeah, I dislocated my collarbone from my sternum, I have a hematoma under there, and it won't go back into place. And then finally admitted, well, actually, I haven't gone to a doctor. I don't really know what it is. That's my theory, at least. I think I dislocated it. I think I have a hematoma under there. But until Washougal is done, I'm not going to go to the doctor and work on it. I'm just going to go racing. Aaron, what do you know about the 57?
You're exactly right. We're trying to get our stories straight between the two of us, Jason. But he did say to me that he is going to go and get it checked out right after this race. He said he is scared to know what the doctor is going to report back, and that's the reason why he hasn't gone to get it looked at this point.
Well, I know anytime that you say the word hematoma, that's not good. And at this point, does it really matter if you can ride okay, and if your body feels okay, and you can get through your training and all the riding that's required? If it's not inhibiting that, just go for it. You really don't need to hear the bad news.
How bad can the news be? The guy's good enough to win motos, and that's what he's about to do right here. Checkered flag, and Blake Baggett has got himself moto number 1, and now Jeff Ambig and I have gotten on the same page. Yes, he was a few points behind Rattray, and then Rattray a few more points behind Wilson.
I'm not sure that Baggett knows that he got the checkered.
And we had similar confusion, it looked like, down there at the end of the 450 Moto 1. Now the checkered flag is out, so the race is over, but I don't know if they waived it for Baggett. He has won the moto officially, but he might not know it yet. And what do the moto dads always tell you? Race to the finish line and race to the checkered flag no matter what. Whoa, Wilson crosses the line with a radiator shroud hanging off there on the left side of his bike.
Yeah, no doubt from that fall. That was on the left-hand side when he dug that in.
We're going to show you Baggett going through the finish line area. There he is on 57, white flag waving, and they whipped out the checkered flag at the last minute. He did take a look.
Yeah, but if you're not sure, that was so close with the 140 there.
Yep.
Moore, who was getting lapped.
So Baggett's going to put in an additional lap here just to make sure he's still racing.
Hey, I would too, no doubt about it. You call it a victory lap if you want, but if you don't know, this actually has been the site where the riders have pulled off.
Yeah, we had this happen a couple years ago to none other than one of the most veteran, experienced riders on this tour. Kevin Windham once mistook the white for the checkered at this race. So it's happened here at Washougal. Baggett taking no chances. We'll just make it entertaining for us as we go to break. Baggett, hurry up. You got to get to the podium so we can talk to you when we come back.
Pick up the new AP Mini Mag feature.
Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross. Watch the best Kung Fu cult classic films every Saturday only on Fuel TV, late night at 12 a.m. Eastern and Pacific. Go to fuel.tv for movie titles. And know that Kung Fu battle right there will not be featured. They've got a long way to go, although, you know, it's the thought that counts. Let's send it down to Aaron with a couple of guests down next to the podium. Aaron?
Frustration started for Dean Wilson before that gate had even dropped. Dean, you really weren't happy with your gate pick, first off, and secondly, with the conditions of that. Take us through that moto and also the crash that you had.
Yeah, it was a pretty frustrating moto for me. My start was terrible. Just I spun and then I wheelied, and it was just all messed up. And yeah, it's just kind of a frustrating moto for me. I was really slow coming through the pack, but really had no choice. I mean, all the lines just funnel into one, and then, you know, it's really hard to pass. And then I was, you know, on Barsha for fourth, and then just tipped over in the corner, and that was that. And really frustrating. I'm not happy. So hopefully this next one we can finish off.
Regroup and better luck in Moto 2. And a guy that made a statement today, Tommy Week, the number 55. Tommy kind of came off of the radar out of there. Take us through how exciting this is. This is the one race that you race all season long.
Well, this is amazing for me to actually get up here, and especially to get the interviews in front of my hometown. It's awesome. I've been working really hard. I may not be at all the races, but I'm still trying my hardest to land a ride. You know, this economy is really unfortunate for all the privateers trying to make it, but you know, with runs like that, I just hope that I can land a ride one day. Thank you.
Privateer gave these factory guys a challenge today. Great job, Tommy Week.
Wow, well said. Look, even his hair is fired up right now. This guy's pumped. How is his hair not matted down? Did he just not do a moto? This guy's excited. We'll be back to talk to our podium finishers in a moment. Cross Park, Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship, live coverage on Fuel TV. Let's show you how our race broke down with our race recap. Ryan Sipes has the early lead. He took it away from Blake Baggett. Then Blake Baggett found his lines, found the rhythm, took the lead back away from Sipes, checked out from there. Great battles here. The 55 of Tommy Week, a local boy, making passes, working his way up into the top 5. He got around Sipes and Justin Barsha. Barsha got him back, and then Barsha had to deal with Dean Wilson. And then Wilson fell while trying to make the move around Barsha. That would put Barsha in 4th, Wilson 5th, Week 6th. And no challenges for the 57 of Baggett. Once he cleared Sipes, he was gone. The only problem was he didn't see the checkered flag and even put in an extra lap. Let's send it down to Aaron on the podium.
He didn't see that checkered flag. You're just trying to get in an extra lap to prepare for the Moto number 2. But Blake, coming into today, you really weren't all that excited with the track conditions. You were really struggling to find any kind of traction. Did you guys get it all sorted out, and are you happy heading into Moto 2?
Yeah, no, definitely we struggled this morning, but we changed tires and a few suspension adjustments and made it a lot better for sure. But yeah, I'm excited to go to the next one, and I got to give it up to my team, Monster Energy, Pro Series, Kawasaki, Thor, Parts Unlimited, Vans, Volcom, Traxxas, SoCal Super Trucks, my mom, my dad, my trainer Alden Baker, my girlfriend, and Kurt Hendrickson for helping me do some starts this week, and it paid off.
Like you said that you're nursing that injured shoulder coming in. It definitely didn't seem or appear to affect you out there. How is it feeling, and what do you expect to hold up for Moto 2?
No, definitely it gets tired, but it was definitely 100 times better than it was last weekend. So hopefully it holds up, and hopefully we can do the same thing the second moto, but I guess only time will tell.
Congratulations on a job well done.
And we'll show you the results from this first moto. Obviously, Baggett is the winner. Rattray second, and Kyle Cunningham breaks his string of 4th place finishes in a good way. He moved up to 3rd. He's up on the podium. And Marvin Musquian up into the top 10 in his return to the series after 2 months off with a broken thumb. Darren Durham, after that big crash into the fence, got bumped off the track, recovers for 11th over Audette Davalos. Sipes goes all the way back to 15th. Another tough one for Eli Tomac, who was 16th. Alex Martin just misses out of the points. He finishes 21st. And we'll round out the rest of the field here. Hunter Hewitt had a tough go. He had a big crash in practice today, 32nd. Lance Vincent, who was up front early, crashed. He finished 36th. Let's send it back down to the podium and Aaron.
Tyler Rattray said it's easy to forget just how slick this track actually is. But Tyler, it seemed that you got everything in order out there. But is this one of those tracks that you have to slow down just a little bit in order to go faster?
Yeah, definitely. You know, like in qualifying, I was trying really hard and couldn't really get a good timing. So race went a lot better. You know, I was feeling pretty good out there. The track's really slick, and some places pretty dangerous. You can't really see the bumps, and had a couple close calls out there. But just want to thank all the guys from Monster Energy, Pro Series, Kawasaki, Parts Unlimited, Thor, Vans, Volcom, everyone. Thank you.
Tell us about vision out there and how that affects you guys. You guys are dealing with shadowing and things like that. How different is it racing here at this track in particular?
Yeah, it's definitely tough. You know, it's the dirt's obviously really dark, and obviously with a shadow it makes it even darker. So it's really hard to see the bumps, you know, especially along the back end when we're coming through the trees. But other than that, it was a good race for me. You know, I'm really looking forward to the second moto. Hopefully get out front and feel I can win.
Congratulations on a hard charge.
Big talk, big sports, big tunes. Daily Habit is the wildest late night party on television. Weeknights at 11 Eastern and Pacific, only on Fuel TV. And Jeff Emig, you've stopped by on that show several times. Is it truly the wildest late night party on television?
Have you seen the Top 10 show? It's
the best of.
They do the craziest stuff. And Pat Parnell on there, he does such a great job. I mean, he's living the dream life right now, you know, with the variety show there. That's pretty cool.
Let's send it back down to the podium with Aaron. Aaron?
Kyle Cunningham makes his way to the podium for the second time this season. Once was an excruciating heat and humidity climates at Freestone. Kyle, you managed to make your way back up here again. Seems to be a newfound focus or a new drive. What is it that it makes you be back up here on the podium?
It's been good. You keep telling me I need to get up here so I can stand next to you, but no, the track was running really good for the first moto, and you know, I made some mistakes and went from like a third place start back to probably 6th or 7th, and you know, my DNA Shred Stick Star Racing Yamaha was working great. Those guys have done a great job with the bike, and Jerry Masterpool helped me out a little bit last week, and you know, I think that helped a lot. We worked on some things, and I could kind of think about them during my moto and really put my head down and kept charging. Tyler picked the pace up a little bit, and it took me a little while to pick up on his lines, but for the most part, I rode a great race, and I couldn't be happier. The third place was awesome, and like I said, I got to give it up to the DNA, Shred Stick, Star Racing Yamaha, Scott, Infab, FMF, Enzo, Cosworth, Saquon Casino, their new sponsor with the team, and they really stepped up for us. Dunlop, Rob at Pod, Knee Braces, you know, everyone that helps me out, my family, my mom, my dad, my sister, Kirby, everyone, thanks a lot.
I think he was saving up, waiting for that podium speech. He had a lot of sponsors to thank. A big promotion, though, to go from 4th to 3rd for him. And we'll see if he can keep it up on some of our upcoming rounds. We'll have our highlights of this on Thursday night at 10 p.m. on Fuel, and then a couple weekends off. And then we'll be back on August 13th from Unadilla Valley Sports Center. Of course, our first moto coverage live on Fuel at 12:30 p.m. Eastern. Our Unadilla highlight show Thursday after that. Then Southwick, Massachusetts with live coverage on Fuel every single round of the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. First motos live on Fuel. And tonight we'll have second motos live on Speed. We'll take about a 1-hour break, and then we'll come back 7 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Eastern, our 450 and 250 class. That's right, all 4 motos from Washougal live today. I don't care what the weather is like at home. I don't care that it's summertime. Get inside and watch this. It's an historic moment for the sport, and we've got great racing and great championship battles. So what more could you ask for? So congratulations out to our first moto winners, Ryan Villopoto and Blake Baggett. We'll see if they can keep this up and get the overalls later tonight on Speed. For Aaron Bates and Jeff Emig, I'm Jason Weigan. Thanks for joining us for Fuel TV's live coverage of the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship from Washougal. It was definitely exciting to watch. We can't wait to come back a little bit later today with Moto 2.
Hey, it's American. The AMA Championship is a marathon, 12 rounds, 24 motos, spread out over 105 days in the hot summer sun. Even the best riders make mistakes.
Oh, Reed launches! We got trouble!
A slim 7 points now separates 3 riders at the top of the point standings. The drama of the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship begins right now, live from Washougal, Washington.
We're just a half hour away from Portland, Oregon, as well as the scenic snow-capped mountains of Mount Hood and the Columbia River Gorge for round 8 of the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. From Washougal, Washington, it's the Peterson Cat Washougal Motocross National. Hello, everyone. Jason Weimer welcoming you to Speed's live coverage of AMA Motocross, our 450 class coming up in just a moment. Let's give you some of the big picture storylines we're going to follow as this championship chase keeps tightening up. How about Chad Reed? He indeed cannot fly. He tried last weekend at Millville, Minnesota. Big crash, came down to earth, bounced back up incredibly to finish 14th, but the points race has tightened up because Ryan Dungey and Ryan Villopoto went 1-2 in that race. So now Reed's points lead is down to the slimmest of margins, and just in time for Ryan Villopoto because this is his home track because he hails from Washington State. So the Ryans are beginning to stride, and Reed, meanwhile, has to try to bounce back from a very, very big crash last week. What's it like 7 days later for your series points leader? We had a chance to talk to him about that. Here's Chad Reed.
First moto, it was great. I won comfortably, and second one, I got a great start. I was second behind Ryan, and I felt like I had just a great push, a good setup for the day, and I love the sand whoops, and passed Ryan there, and I was set to try to get after it, and obviously after that, I came crashing to the ground.
He is fired up here in the number 22. Oh! Reed launches! We got trouble! Chad Reed is down and down hard!
The front kind of went first, and then when you watch it on TV, the rear goes as well, but I didn't feel that. I just felt the front go. In my mind, all I felt was just a big jar of the handlebars, and then the next minute I'm flying through the air thinking that this is not good. When I was on the ground, I was trying to get my breath, and then, as you're starting to get your breath, I do the body take, feel your arms, your legs, your wrist, and everything felt pretty intact. So once I regained my breath, my instinct was to get back on the bike.
Are you kidding me? Chad Reed is back on the motorcycle?
I'm 6 points up, and we got, 5 weeks to go, and I'm ready. I'll bring it and try and race these kids all the way to the end.
Well, Reed amazingly got up from that crash and finished that race in 14th place. He scored 8 points in that moto, and when you look at the series point standings, you see how big those 8 points are. He has a 7-point gap over third place Ryan Dungey and 6 over second place Ryan Villopoto. So for the moment, Reed has been able to stave off the challenge from the young Ryans. So let's give you more information on this race with a pair of progressive pre-race reports. Let's first send it down to Jeff Emig in the Kawasaki pits.
Back in May, Ryan Villopoto wrapped up his first AMA Supercross title. But the Motocross Championship this summer did not start the way that you wanted to. But now, we're here at Washougal. You're only 6 points down. What's it going to take to win this title?
I think it's going to take consistency, but I've been decently consistent, I think. But we just need to get some overalls, get some 1-1 finishes. We're making little improvements every week on the bike. This is really my first full season of outdoors, so I think everybody's learning things that we need to improve on. But yeah, we'll get out there and go for those moto wins and overalls.
Now this track here in Washougal is your hometown race. You grew up only 2-3 hours from here, and you've never won the overall here. What's it going to take to lock down the overall here today?
I think obviously good starts and just 2 solid motos, but it just seems like I've only been able to win. Especially this year, just one or 2 motos. I think for me, just like I said, good starts, consistent. We'll get out there and see what happens.
Ryan Villopoto looking for 1-1 moto finishes today. Will tie him at least in points and finally give him his first overall at the hometown track.
Ryan Dungey sporting the #1 plate as a defending motocross champion, and last weekend we witnessed him capture his 2nd overall victory of the season. Ryan, you did this in front of your Minnesota State family and friends, and we noticed that you were a more aggressive Ryan Dungey last weekend. What changed and why?
I don't think nothing changed. I just try to get out there and get a good start and put ourselves in a good position. I think last week and being in front of the hometown crowd was definitely cool to pull off a win there. But I think at this point, just try to keep winning races, get maximum points, and get ready for the try to be there in the end and in the closing.
5 rounds left to go, 7 points behind. How do you approach these final few rounds?
Normal, just the same as we have been. I think just try to keep at, getting up to a good start each and every moto, taking one moto at a time, not getting too far ahead of ourselves, and Team's doing a great job. Rockstar, Makita Suzuki, everybody on this half is doing awesome, and just got to keep plugging away and having fun.
Best of luck, Ryan Dungey. He's won here 3 years in a row. Looking for today to make it a 4th.
Now that you've heard from the 3 fastest motocross riders on the planet, it's time to drop the gate on round 8. Jason, Jeff, and Aaron are ready to call all the action when the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship returns to Washougal.
Emergency.
Welcome back to Washougal. We are almost ready for 450 Moto 2, but first let's check out our track map, brought to you by Kawasaki in the 2012 KX450F, fully equipped and race ready. Let's have at it, Jeff.
What a fantastic track we have, and as always, these riders talk about the start. You've got to get around this right-hander, up horsepower hill, over the top, and if you do that, I believe that that is going to be one of the key points to winning the overall in this second moto here. The highlighted section, of course, comes back downhill. You kind of go through some jumps, back up, back down into the shadowed areas of the track, make a tight right through the whoop section, through the Lucas Oil finish line, up this set of zigzags that bring you back around to the Makita mechanics area. That's a lap at Washougal. Let's go on board with our GoPro on board. Now, what this illustrates, one thing is kind of the shadows of the track here. This is earlier today in practice. Also, if you notice right in the center of the top of your screen, there's a little bit of roost on the camera. Now, in this situation, you can pull a tear off and have a clean lens.
Let's show you the highlights of Moto 1, which was completed earlier today. Off the start, 2 of our 3 championship combatants are immediately into the number 1 and 2 position. You've got the 2 of Villopoto on the green and the 1 of Dungey right next to him. Chad Reed, meanwhile, is buried. He gets stopped when another rider goes down in turn 2. Villopoto sprinted. He got away from Dungey on the opening laps, but Dungey just wouldn't give up, Jeff.
Dungey put on a charge, and he started to close it in, but his fellow Australian, Chad Reed, was way outside of the top 10. Passes another Australian here, Michael Byrne.
Yeah, and Reed had to keep digging. Here is Andrew Short making the move on Justin Brayton to get inside the top 5. Dungey was able to close in on Villopoto, but watch this. Grabs too much throttle out of that corner, loses the back end, and that essentially ended the battle for the lead. Villopoto takes the first moto win over Dungey, and Chad Reed struggled coming through traffic. Yeah, he made a couple of passes, but not as many as he wanted to, and the results in that one, he ended up, I believe, in the number 7 position. So if you're Reed, you've got to make up ground in Moto 2. Here is your starting grid at the top. Pick your favorite. Watch for a couple of potential spoilers. Trey Canard, who was 3rd in that first moto on the number 41 Honda. He has proven he can mix it up with these front runners. Let's go racing live on Speed. Same story. It is Dungey and Villopoto out front just like they were. But now you got the 800 of Michael Alessi, who knifes to the inside and gets to 2nd ahead of Dungey.
Chad Reed with a little better start. I believe he's 5th or 6th. Let's see as they come over the top of Horsepower Hill.
Dungey going to try to get Alessi back around the outside. They've also got Canard there with them in 4th. And Dungey knows if he's stuck behind a couple of riders, Villopoto can sprint early and get away.
Interesting part of the track there. They don't use that section too much. As you can see, it's pretty dusty. It's hard to get water up into that area.
Unbelievable what Villopoto has done with his starts today. 2 hole shots. But he's got his old rival, Mike Alessi, right there behind him. Dungey going after Alessi early.
But Dungey needs to make a move quickly on Alessi. He's got the speed to run down Villopoto, but if you let Villopoto get out front too far, it's going to put too much pressure on to make it happen quickly.
He's got to worry about Canard. Canard trying to get Dungey, and Dungey responds and holds off the 41, but he almost lost another position.
Jason, this is an extremely difficult time of the day to race here at Washougal. You notice the shadows from the trees. Great for the fans, providing lots of shade to keep them cool, but for the riders, as you come down into these sections, you see how dark the soil becomes. Now, they've worked on the track in certain spots. They've also laid down quite a bit of water in certain places. So this first lap, the track is going to be really hard and slippery. Tire choice is going to be important to have the right tire set up for your bike to compensate for that. vision, of course, like I said, getting into those shadowed areas. And the final key is to be efficient. Villopoto was very efficient to first moto. He rode a great race. He's got lots of energy in reserves for Moto 2. He's going to need it.
All right, that was your Rocky Mountain ATVMC.com keys to the race. The key to the race for Ryan Dungey right now is to try to get around the 800 of Alessi. And we had talked to Alessi earlier today, and he told us he thought the key for him, of course, was a good start. Now, Alessi is known as one of the best starters in the business, but the last couple of weeks, we have not seen the 800 up front like this. He thinks if he can get one of these starts, he can at least keep pace with these riders for the first 15 minutes. That's his goal, to stay in the hunt, and he is right now.
Yeah, and I believe that the track...
Whoa! Canard launches, and he scrubbed it, I guess, too hard uphill and came back the other way.
And this is a dangerous spot, Jason, because the riders are coming over that blind jump. Canard goes down hard. He is grasping his left thigh.
And he is just back from injury, and he had a broken leg. We hope that has not aggravated that injury. Take us through this, Jeff.
Watch as Canard tries to scrub it, and the front wheel taps, so the front wheel stays up. He augers in the ground pretty hard, but as he's trying to scrub it, he's tucking the front wheel down, and it touches, puts him into a looped out scenario when he planned on having the front wheel low. The front wheel came up. Horrendous crash here for Trey Canard, only a second race back after a broken leg.
Trackside medics are already there attending to him. Man, we hope he is okay. He was getting aggressive, trying to mix it up with Dungey. We figured that Canard and maybe Alessi could potentially be spoilers, and Alessi already is right now by running in between Villopoto and Dungey, and Canard wanted to be there as well.
Yeah, and to explain that scrub there, that's a situation where when you go over a jump, you lean the bike over on the takeoff, and so it takes your trajectory and flattens it out.
We are tossing the red flag out, and that means this race will come to a stop because, presumably, Canard is in a precarious situation. They do not want bikes racing through that horsepower hill where he went down, Jeff, is one of the fastest sections of this track.
And that blind area, I remember a few years back, Mike Brown being involved in an incident there where a rider went down and he got hit squarely, or vice versa. It's a very dangerous area if someone's laying there.
All right, so Canard is still down, so the red flag is out. Obviously, you want to take every precaution that you can. Take us through this again, Jeff.
Pay attention. Watch his front wheel as it taps right there, and it takes the whole momentum of the bike and the whole flow. Such a hard hit for Trey Canard.
Yeah, and obviously he is coming off a leg injury, but who knows? In fact, that could be a knee, it could be a hip, it could be anything. So, and plus you can see that side of the track, there isn't enough room to drive one of the medic mules up there. So we'll sort this out in a moment. We'll come back, re-rack it, and go racing live from Washougal. Stay with us. Wednesday night, the car show with Adam Carolla is all new, and it's man versus machine when the guys take on a computer-controlled Beamer at Laguna Seca. So don't miss the car show Wednesday night at 10 Eastern, only on Speed. That is quickly becoming my favorite show, and they've only had 2 of them so far. Meanwhile, bad news for the number 41 of Trey Canard. The Asterisk Medic team is attending to him. It was a huge crash that led to a red flag situation here before he went to break, Jeff.
Yeah, this was a really fast section of the track. A blind uphill jump where Trey was trying to scrub it. And what you do in a scrub is on the face of that jump, you lean the bike over and you kind of slide. Here's a look from behind. I want you to pay attention to his front wheel tapping. Right there, the wheel goes up, and see how it spins the rotation of the bike off from what he intended. Right there, it hits again, see, and then it throws the bike, rotates it the other way, and he goes over the bars, takes a pretty hard hit right there. This ground up here at Washougal is an extremely hard pack in that section.
Okay, well, it's good to see that they took all the safety precautions they could by red flagging this, so they didn't have to deal with riders on a very, very fast section of the track coming by with Canard just off to their left. And that means we'll have to reset this race. Man, that Honda team has definitely been snake bit. Their other rider, Josh Grant, is out with a knee injury, and Kevin Windham said he was burnt out and he was a replacement rider. Might have to get him on the phone and bring him back. Speaking of being back, we will be back in a moment. Well, a chaotic opening for our second moto here live on Speed. Washougal, Washington, Trey Canard with a big crash. The medics have attended to him. We red flagged the race. We are ready to restart. We were 3 minutes and 39 minutes into that race, so we will remove 3 minutes and 39 seconds from the 30-minute race duration. That is his mom there on the left with the blonde hair, Carrie Canard. And unfortunately, this is a situation they have been in before. He did have a leg injury coming into this series. Aaron, any reports down there on Trey's condition?
Well, guys, not too much to report at the moment. We're witnessing him on the mule at the moment, getting loaded into the ambulance. But he is complaining of pain in the exact same spot in the left femur, which was the one that he recently had injured. So not too much to report, but what a tough day and a tough Washougal for Trey Canard.
Yeah, because the coincidence here is that in 2008, he was battling in the 250 class with Villopoto and Dungey and broke that leg for the first time at this track.
Yeah, watch it right here. He gets up over the front of the bars, and then right there when he hits the ground, that's the impact on the leg. And so here we go. Villopoto and Dungey are going to re-rack this thing. Now Reed, he was 7th on the first lap, so he started just outside of the top 5 on the first start here. Fellow Australian Michael Byrne had a great start. He was up inside the top 5 also. For Chad Reed, this may be the do-over that he needs to put himself back in there. And I'm telling you, if the 1 gets in front of the 2 off of this start, both motos, they drag race. It was like a carbon copy.
Right.
This might be what could change this whole thing. And remember, Villopoto's never won here. How frustrated could it be if it went negatively on his part?
Yeah, exactly. He had the whole shot. And as we like to say, will justice be served? Will he have the whole shot again?
Let's see. He's going to have to earn it. I mean, he is so on today.
Yep.
His corners are flowing. The starts are great. Kawasaki looks like they've got the bike dialed in for him. Trying to get the monkey off his back here.
And there is Dungey lined up, and you can see the missing gate position. That was Canard.
Canard right there, 3 to the inside.
Because they do pick their gates by order of where they finished in the first moto, and Canard did finish 3rd in that moto.
Now also, if you remember off the first start, that rider that was on the far outside, he actually had a problem with the bike where it didn't start. And that was, I believe it was
Greg Crater.
One of the locals.
So a couple of reset chances for riders like Crater. For Reed, who didn't get the start he wanted, even for Dungey, who was running 3rd when we red flagged it. We are re-racked and ready to go racing again here at Washougal. And I don't think Villopoto's going to get it this time. It's Dungey out front, although Villopoto and Justin Brayton of the number 10 right there, and Reed tucks in on the inside.
Chad Reed tucks in. He's right there next to Brayton as they drag race up Horsepower Hill for the 2nd time here in Moto 2. Dungey making good on the restart out front.
And Dungey launching and then landing in those ruts. He is putting on a full sprint on this first lap.
And this will put the pressure on the number 2 of Ryan Villopoto. There will be a sense of urgency knowing that, hey, Dungey's been sharp here and he's been strong the last couple of weeks. Now I'm going to have to work extra hard here in front of my hometown crowd to try to win my first overall here at Washougal.
And Brayton doing a good job on the Muscle Milk Toyota JGR bike in 3rd, holding Reed back. They're sorting out their lines, figuring it out, as you got the 1 of Dungey and the 2 of Villopoto reversed from where they were before the restart. Villopoto is coming after it.
Wow, they are all over the track trying to find some good lines. Moto 1, these riders started with a fairly fresh track, not too many bumps. By the end of that race, it was extremely rough everywhere. And you add on the fact that here at Washougal, the roost coming off of the rear tire, that dirt that sprays up, hurts more here than any place on the circuit.
Look at Villopoto trying everything to get around Dungey, and he almost does. That is a turn where there's usually not room to make passes, but he gave it a run.
He's fired up, Jason. There's a sense of urgency also. This is for the overall.
And now he's going to go to the inside. Dungey on the outside.
This is only the first lap.
Yeah.
And they're riding at an intensity level and with the urgency of the championship being on the line.
Well, it's almost a chess match here right now because Villopoto has been very quick through the first half of these races. The second half, as of late, Dungey has been the man coming on strong. So I think Villopoto knows if he didn't pass him in the first half, it could be tough to get him in the second.
I'll tell you what's going to be tough is for anybody to catch these guys. Reed is up into second, but look how far behind he is. When we get a wide shot, try to find Chad Reed in the background.
Unbelievable. Yeah, they put several seconds on him as he was battling with Brayton, but I don't know if that was Brayton holding him up or just the fact that Dungey and Villopoto are on it right now out front.
I'm telling you, having Dungey out front like this just adds this level of intensity for Villopoto. You can see how determined he is. He is riding the outsides, the insides, whatever it takes. He is finding smooth lines. He went from left all the way to right to the outside here in that turn. Look at the riders zigzagging all over the track here to try to find a place where they can apply the pressure, the power of these 450cc engines.
Well, he's applying the pressure too. Don't kid yourself. And look at the fans there along the fence line cheering for Villopoto, the Washington State native, who again has never won here at this track. Meanwhile, Dungey has 3 consecutive wins, 2 on a 250 bike, and last year on the 450s. But of course, Villopoto was not here last year. He was out injured. So really hard to pick a winner in this battle. And a little mistake there from Villopoto, and that allows Dungey to squirt away just for a moment. But you know Villopoto's going to try to bring some more heat.
No doubt, but Dungey has been so smooth today, even through the 2 qualifying practices. I was so impressed with his patience and his speed. That he was riding relatively easy, but his speed was there and his lap times were fantastic.
Here's some speed. The 24 Metcalfe, Rockstar Makita Suzuki, manages to put it in front of Brayton. So Metcalfe going to 4th. He wants to measure himself against these 3 riders who've been dominating the series, and that is Villopoto, Dungey, and Reed. Metcalfe has a chance here running in 4th, and Reed is in front of him. Then it is Brayton, Hahn, Jimmy Albertson, Jake Weimer. Mike Alessi is 9th, and that's probably the rider who came out the worst end of the deal with the restart, obviously besides Canard, who was injured. But Alessi was 2nd on the first start and is now 9th.
Yeah, he's right there, and he's followed, rounding out the top 10, Michael Byrne, who was 5th on the first start. So they had a 2nd and a 5th. Now they're 9th and 10th. But it's a do-over for certain riders. Look at Tommy Hahn here on the Moto Concepts Yamaha, putting in a fantastic ride. He's had some really good speed, but he's also hit the mat a couple times this season.
There's Alessi trying to make up for that bad start. He's got to battle Jimmy Albertson, who last week was number 108 on a Honda and is now on the Valley Rockstar Yamaha team.
Watch this as Albertson goes to the far left. Alessi's like, okay, I got to get over to my right here, and I got to get out of the roost because up horsepower hill on a 450. That stuff hurts, Jason.
There goes Alessi to the inside.
Wow.
And he gets aggressive. You don't often see that out of Alessi, but that sense of urgency that you keep mentioning, they are all feeling it early in this one.
Well, and it's a sense of urgency, and when you have that, your intensity just increases, and you just are fired up. Like the riders at the front right now, Dungey was a 209, Villopoto was 2 seconds off at a 211. The group we're watching right now with Weimer is a 216, Alessi was a 215, and then Byrne is a 217. So you can see quite a bit of difference because Dungey is out front flying right now. And he, like I mentioned earlier, he's almost the most patient, it looked like. So I think that there's something to that here on this track at Washougal, to setting the fast lap times, to being patient, flowing through your turns.
Here is Alessi attacking Weimer, who had another disappointing first moto. He finished 15th. Had a crash at one point, was out of the top 20. Trying to recover here, but no time to recover because Alessi has taken the position away. So that will move Alessi up to 8th.
Yeah, that's a big disappointment right there when you get to start, say, okay, what can I do with this? And then riders are starting to go by you. It's frustrating because at that point it becomes so mental, and your mind, the gremlins just come in your mind and you're trying to put it all together. And in this situation, I talk about when things start to happen fast in your head. All of a sudden, you're turning, Weimer turned to 2:15 lap time, but in his head, the speed was going like he was at a 2-minute flat, and then that it gets hard to focus at that point.
Okay, so after taking on a lot of pressure from Villopoto to the first lap and a half, Dungey has settled in, turned in a fastest lap of the moto so far with a 2:09, backed it down to a 2:10, but Villopoto was only able to match that, so the gap is at exactly 2 seconds between those two. But look at the clock at the top of the screen. 20 minutes and then 2 laps to go. You've got to figure that Villopoto is going to have another attack in him before this one is over.
Did you see Dungey there? That inside line right there. He went through that, I mean, perfect execution. Just so smooth through there. Applied the throttle coming back up and up the hill into the shadows.
How about this? Metcalfe challenging Reed for 3rd. And we went over and talked to Reed's team between the motos, and I don't know, they weren't saying that he felt injured, but you have to wonder if Reed is indeed at 100% after that big crash last weekend. Although, to Metcalfe's credit, he definitely has been stepping up over the last couple of weeks. Right now, he is giving the 22 all he can handle.
Yeah, no doubt. Metcalfe has been getting a little better with each passing race, and as you get deeper into this championship, you know, historically, Metcalfe is really good at the end of the season. We saw last year when he locked up 2nd place in the championship in the final round where him and Andrew Short were battling it out. I do believe that Chad Reed, though, there's a little edge taken off, a little bit of that intensity and the comfort level at that pace that he's been on the last month or so. Doesn't quite have that spark and that intensity that he had the previous weeks.
And Justin Brayton, who is in 5th with the number 10, they haven't dropped him. He is still there in some of the tighter sections of the course, so they got by him quick, but he's trying to hook on. Look at Metcalfe all over Reed through these turns. And then you've got Brayton and Hahn, and these two were in a battle in the 2nd moto last week in Minnesota. It's kind of funny. It's a thing in motocross where almost no matter where these guys start, they end up hooking up in the same positions. Oh, Metcalfe has made the move on Reed, and that is huge in the championship standings.
2 points here, the difference between 3rd and 4th, but I'm telling you, and when you look at the whole championship, as close as this is, those points are so valuable.
All right, we've been talking about the 22, but what about the 24? Aaron, what are you hearing on Metcalfe?
Brett told me that that was the best moto of his entire season during moto number 1, where he finished 4th. He said it gave him back the confidence that he needed, and he's got some swagger in him. But you guys were mentioning how good he is through the corners right now. They did dial in the suspension. They made it a little bit stiffer. It's supposed to help him out, and apparently it is so far.
Now, if they're going stiffer with the suspension and the chassis setup, that means because of the track getting rougher, okay, more pressure on the suspension coming down those hills, he'd be getting into a situation where the suspension is bottoming out. Watch right here. Yeah, he's going to get to the inside right here. Watch, he just nails that turn, leans the Suzuki over, and just edges out fellow countryman there from Australia, Chad Reed. Pretty intense riding right now for Metcalfe. He looks really strong on the bike.
Now, Metcalfe said he had injured his wrist in Supercross, and he said when he was doing his outdoor testing, he was not quite at 100% speed, and he thinks that that kind of misled him on some of the settings, because as the wrist got better and he started riding faster, that setup didn't work anymore. So this whole year has been somewhat of a work in progress.
Yeah, I mean, theoretically, the faster that you ride the bike and the harder you ride it, the harder that you'll land, the harder that you'll drive the bike into the braking bumps and the acceleration bumps. So you'll have to firm up the suspension, right? Make it harder to press, you know, the bike down. The slower you ride it, the softer that it can be, the more plush that it would be. So faster you go, the stiffer it is.
Don't count Reed out, though. He wasn't the points leader, at least coming into this race, without good reason. He is one of the smartest riders in this game, and again, he knows how to measure the effort. Looks like he's going to camp out here on that rear fender of Metcalfe and maybe launch an attack in the 2nd half of this race. We'll see what happens. Can Reed run with Metcalfe, or is he going to be bumped off the podium? Stay with us. Ryan Dungey trying to spoil the home track party for Ryan Villopoto. He is leading here in moto number 2, and if he wins this moto, he wins the day's overall victory. And it all came down to the start. That's why he has the lead. Let's give you the progressive whole shot replay. Jeff?
And the progressive restart at this point, because Villopoto had both whole shots leading into this, but this one, Dungey gets the wheel on him. I predicted, I told you, I think if Dungey gets out front, that is going to be the key to the race. So far, so good. That combined with the effort and the great ride that Dungey is putting in, he's got 12 minutes plus 2 laps on his way, if he can lock it down, to his 4th Washougal overall in a row. 2 in the 250 class, 2008, 2009, and of course last year here in the 450 class.
And that 2008 win for Dungey at this track was his first ever in American motocross, and he did it in a very similar situation to this. He was out front. They had to get around Trey Canard, ironically enough. They got around Canard, he and Villopoto, and Villopoto chased Dungey all the way to the checkered flag, but Dungey never made a mistake, didn't leave the door open, got that win, and really that launched his career to another level. And he's got a whole bunch of championships since then. Let's catch up here with Mike Alessi, who is in 7th. And again, Alessi was 2nd. He was splitting Villopoto and Dungey early until they had to red flag this race and restart it. So again, besides Canard, who is down and injured, if anyone had trouble by having the crash and the restart, it's Alessi. Because he might have been able to run for the podium today, but instead he's just looking to make his way up into the top 5.
Yeah, and Alessi has turned a 2:13.4 in this race. Right now, last lap around, he was a 2:15.7, so drop up the pace a little bit. And if you notice him, he's kind of searching around for some lines right now, trying to keep the motivation up. And it's difficult when there's no one in front of you, no one behind you, and you've got that gap. You know, you don't really have that motivation from another rider being around, as opposed to Andrew Short right here, who's got a lot of pressure here with Weimer, and looks like just behind Weimer is Albertson.
Short, one of his best races of the year in the first moto today, finished 5th. Now he is up to 8th behind Alessi and right in front of Weimer, who's 9th, and Jimmy Albertson in 10th. Pretty impressive for Albertson right behind them. Transition from a Honda last week, and then real quick got a test ride with Valley Rockstar Yamaha. Did a test with him, and they put him on the bike for the race, so he's racing on an entirely different brand and team than he was 7 days ago, and he's in the top 10. There you see him on the blue.
Well, yeah, and Andrew Short is on a different machine than most other riders, too. He's riding a 350cc KTM. They actually have Mike Alessi on a 450, and so Short out here with a little bit lighter bike, a little more nimble, a little less weight, but it also has 100 cc's less displacement.
Well, a lot of speculation about next year, just to add more drama to this title chase. KTM has admitted they are making a serious run to try to sign Ryan Dungey to this team next year. And
certainly sounds like a good move, good place to go.
Yeah, you would think the guy with the #1 plate who's winning the race might be one of the free agents you'd want to sign. They do like Andrew Short. They'd like to bring him back. He doesn't have a guaranteed contract to come back next year, but they do like him. But a lot of people wondering if they bring back Dungey, if they bring back Short, or even Alessi, will they be on 350s? Will they be on 450s? I guess time will tell. Right now, the 450 Kawasaki is right there against the 350 KTM of Short. And Aaron, what do you hear about Andrew Short?
Well, we already spoke about the rear suspension reservoir that the KTM team is running today, and so far it is working for Andrew Short. He said the bike feels completely different. It's got an entirely different feel to it. It's stiff, but it's working for him. But he said that he got his momentum back during that moto. It is the best moto of the season, and he's looking forward to continue on throughout the rest of this season.
And Andrew has been racing with some distractions. Certainly a get well soon to him and his wife Jackie, their son Hudson, who has had some surgery on Friday. Certainly we hope for the best for his team. But he's got to come out here and do his job, which is race on weekends, and doing a good job of it today with that 5th in Moto 1 and in the top 10 here. Let's go a little bit further back. We talked about Albertson on the 108 and the 592 of Jake Canada, who also was pretty much unsupported privateer early in this tour. Came out, rode well about a month ago in Colorado, and picked up a spot on the Moto Concepts Yamaha team.
So a couple of replacement riders here for each team on these teams. And I tell you, I mean, I never had to switch motorcycles during the championship.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough enough just trying to be used to your bike, and the teams work so hard with the riders to make the practice bike, the race bike, the test bike, everything feel the same every time they get on the bike. In motocross, this is the type of sport where you have to ride. You have to be on the seat and get seat time to feel comfortable, because everything becomes so instinctual, and the bike becomes like a part of you, where you work as one with the machine, And so for these riders that are switching up bikes during the championship, that's really tough to do, to get used to that and to get that feeling, especially because the Yamaha being a completely different design machine than every other bike that's out there, it has a totally different feel.
A little bit further back, we see the 26 of Michael Byrne, the BTO Sports Butler Brothers Suzuki. And we saw his teammate, Jason Thomas, who is injured out with an ACL injury, but he is here today to help cheer his teammate on.
Yeah, and Michael Byrne actually just made a couple passes in the last lap or two, got past Simmons and Rookstool.
Then you've got Rookstool, 235, and then Ty Simmons, a young Australian on the J-Star JDR KTM. That's also a 350, right behind Nick Way, also on one of those Valley Rockstar Yamahas. And they're coming through that famous whoop section here, and behind them, the H67 of the Swede.
The Swede!
Yeah, Frederick Noren on the MX Heaven backed Honda. This is a good battle here.
It definitely is, and Nick Way, popular rider, veteran of the sport here, very popular around the pits in the industry. Found a great spot here with this team, but
Weimer won't give up.
He's looking for a spot.
Now, he was in front of Short at one point. Short got him, and Weimer wants that back. Here we go, up Horsepower Hill.
Now watch Weimer, bam, right there. He gets out of the roost, trying to get the horsepower from the 450 Cowie past that 350 KTM. I tell you what, though, the 350 looked pretty good up to Horsepower Hill. And I do think that this is the type of track where the 350 would perform very well, because it's not that deep, okay? There's not a lot of topsoil that drags the horsepower out of the engine where you really need a lot of torque. If it's deep and muddy, the torque really pays off. But here, it's really hard packed. Horsepower would be the most important thing. And I spoke with Roger DeCosta earlier in the season, and he says, look, horsepower, we're there. It's the torque that we're having problem making, and that's just a displacement. You know, there's no replacement for displacement.
Yeah, and in Europe, KTM races that 350 bike with great success, and that was one of the things that almost confused the team. Why can that bike race heads up against 450s in Europe and not the U.S.? And some of the theories are because they prep the tracks differently here. Well, and when you dig that soil up deeper, what do you think?
Yeah, also, well, let's take a look at our leader.
Let's take a look at Dungey, who's on a 450 Rockstar Makita Suzuki, and he has extended it over Villopoto in a big way, 10 seconds. So I theorized at the beginning of this race, the way Dungey has been very strong in the second half of the motos as of late, that if Villopoto couldn't break him early, that he might not be able to do it in the second half. And I don't know if he can. Time is running out for Villopoto to put in a charge and finally get a win at Washougal. American trucker Rob tests his mettle by working a full shift for an independent trucking company, then hits the road in search of 60 vintage big rigs. Don't miss American Trucker Thursday night at 10 Eastern on Speed. Ryan Dungey is checking out here in the second half of this moto. He has a 14-second gap over Ryan Villopoto, and the second half of this series has been his so far. He won the first race of the second half last week in Minnesota, and it looks like he might win this one. Wait a minute. Jake Weimer continues to attack Andrew Short. In the latter moments of this race, we have 1 minute and then 2 more laps in this one. Short cannot get away.
I like seeing this out of Jake Weimer. He's had some struggles this season, and I just really didn't think that his intensity was there, and his, obviously his comfort level hasn't been there. This is his first season on the 450, but man, he's letting it all out right here in the second moto at Washougal, and you can see he's using quite a bit different lines than Andrew Short is, trying to find a smooth line in some place to lay down the power here from the 450.
Yeah, this is a private duel. Alessi, who is a little further up the track in 7th. They can't see him, and then the rider behind them, Albertson, is about the same distance back. So it's just the two of them in a battle for 8th and 9th.
And their lap times reflected. 2:15. Hahn, who's actually up in 6th, he's a 2:17. Brayton, 2:18. Reed, a 2:19. And 8th and 9th are still laying down 2:15 lap times.
Well, even Villopoto's only laying down a 2:15. They're actually matching the speed of our second place rider because they are pushing each other hard. Here we go through this whoop section. And Short still holds Weimer off, and they did not get there by the time the clock had expired. So it'll be 3 laps to go, and then after this lap, look at the 2-lap board, start counting it down.
I'll tell you what, if I'm Weimer, I am sick of taking the roost off of the back of this bike, because I mean, I remember riding on a 125 here where there was very little roost. You didn't have to worry about it. Then when I stepped up to the 250 class, which is what this class is now, 252 strokes back in the days, the roost hurt pretty bad. Okay, now a 454 stroke, these things are monsters. The tire is actually wider on these bikes than when I raced the 252 stroke in the same class. There's so much horsepower and so much torque that the tire companies just had to build bigger tires. Bigger the tire, bigger the roost, you know?
Here we are uphill. That was Weimer's mechanic, Dana Wiggins. Pretty fast rider in his own right back in the days.
Wiggins 92, buddy.
Really? Okay.
That was his year.
All right. And he told Weimer to fight, and that's exactly what he's doing. And this is good to see. You know, it's not just the guys up front that are putting in the effort. You can't say that these guys didn't leave it all out there the way they're fighting all the way down to the checkers in this moto. 2 laps to go for Dungey. And as I was saying, second half of this series, he's looking for 2 in a row. And he should tie Villopoto on points for the day. So he came in here 1 point behind Villopoto. That was second and third in the series coming in. Now they'll be first and second. They will overtake Reed. There is Villopoto, who should leave as the points leader by the slimmest of margins, 1 point.
One thing that Villopoto will not leave with is momentum and that confidence if it finishes like it did. Now, on the other hand, Metcalfe here, 24, huge confidence booster for the runner-up in last year's championship. But for Villopoto, it'll be a tie in points for first. He will be your points leader, but he'll know that Ryan Dungey put in a solid ride. And, you know, barring any sort of, you know, a mechanical or something that's gone on that we don't know about, Dungey will have the momentum leaving this event.
Now, let's not take anything away from Chad Reed. I know you've seen that crash over and over and over, but the reason we keep showing it to you is to give you an idea of the struggle that he faced this week trying to recover from that. And he is back in 4th place now. This is last week, Chad Reed in the lead early in the second moto. And just as brutal as it can possibly be.
Reed takes such a hit there. Knocks the wind out of himself when he hits here. Wasn't sure. See, he hits a big kicker. Front wheel goes, then the rear wheel goes, and it just ejects him.
Wow. And to give you an idea, as he got back into the race, we were in shock. When he was in midair, I thought that might not be the end of his season, but it might be the end of the career for Chad Reed. He's almost 30 years old, which is getting up there for this sport. And if he was going to lose a year or so with a back or leg injuries, I don't know if we would have seen him return to the track.
Well, and he's had to regroup. In 7 days, he's had to get back out on what could be a difficult track here if you don't execute properly. His body's sore. Wasn't really letting on to us, but I did talk to him. He says, look, I'm sore, I'm stiff here and there, but hey, I'm not going to worry about that. He knows that this is a damage control type weekend, and so a 7-4 on the weekend is damage control in my book.
And we will have 2 full weekends off, so plenty of time for Reed to rest and recover.
Exactly.
And with 4 rounds, 8 motos left in this championship, he can close back in on these guys. But Ryan Dungey, what did you say before? Momentum. Even Reed coming back healthy, it's going to be tough to tackle this guy.
It certainly will, and Dungey finally has found his stride, has a great weekend here. Even in the first moto, when he had caught up to Ryan Villopoto, who led the whole race, it seemed like that Dungey could go anywhere he wanted on the track, take an outside line, all that didn't work. But he still would be right on Villopoto. Try an inside line, make a mistake, whatever, he'd still be right on it. He goes down trying to make a pass, but huge statement here in Moto 2. And man, this is a huge momentum swing in my book. This has been a great day of racing for Ryan Dungey.
Well, you know, Dungey gets a lot of flack because every time he's asked questions, he pretty much gives you the same answer. But is that not what is paying off for him right now? The first half of the year, everyone's saying what's wrong. He's last year's champ. He's not getting the wins. What is the problem? What does he need to do? And he just kept saying, I'm just going to keep doing my deal, doing my deal, doing my deal. And lo and behold, is just doing his deal not starting to pay off for him now? He didn't reinvent the wheel. He didn't change much. Just kept plugging away.
This may be Villopoto country, but he's got some fans out there. When he dropped off that Lucas Oil ski jump, they're definitely cheering him on, because even if they're Villopoto's fans, you have to respect this ride here today, because Dungey has flat put it to him.
Yeah.
40 riders on the gate, and he is #1. And I tell you, that's been an interesting season for him. It's been an interesting year altogether after being back-to-back Supercross and Motocross champions as a rookie. First time that any rider had ever done that. And, you know, seconds and thirds this year, and we're wondering what's the matter.
And he was saying, nothing's the matter. I'm just going to keep doing my deal.
Having fun.
Well, the mechanic, Mike Gosler, put on the board. Enjoy it, because he will have 2 weeks of knowing that he has won 2 in a row in this series. See his dad there on the right, running down there to congratulate him. The checkered flag coming out here at Washougal, and Ryan Dungey has won it. 4 straight victories at this track dating back to 2008, 2 in a row in the series in 2011. And Ryan Villopoto on the #2 is going to leave as your new series points leader. But he didn't come here to get second place to Ryan Dungey. So probably a little bit mixed emotions there. But as you said, no doubt how Brett Metcalfe is feeling. He is pumped up. He is going to put the Rockstar Makita Suzuki on the podium with 3rd place in this moto. And I believe that would put him in 3rd overall as well. Chad Reed was challenged by Brayton all the way down to the checkered flag. Reed on the 22 will hold him. Brayton did not give up, and neither did Alessi. Where did he come from? He got to 6th. He passed Hahn late, and he nearly ran down both of them.
Reed and Alessi, 4th and 6th, only 2 seconds separating the two.
And there's the mechanic for Dungey, Mike Gosler, arguably the most successful mechanic in the history of this sport. He's just guided his man to yet another win. We'll talk to him when we return.
Every rider is measured by...
Washougal, Chad Reed not on the podium today, but he did stop to talk to Aaron Bates. Aaron?
Chad Reed's got true grit on the back of his pants, and Chad, you managed to salvage 4th place today. After the horrific crash you experienced last weekend, did the 2-week break, could it come at a better time for you?
I need it. It's no excuses, you know. It's the schedule, and last week took it out of me. I didn't have a whole lot to give today, and to get a bad start in the first one and come back to 7th, you know, I'll take that. And I really wanted to try and get a podium there in the second one, but I just couldn't hold off Matty. He was just, I just wasn't up for it today. So you know, we'll regroup and come back and try to bridge that gap. Sucks to lose the red plate, but for what it could have been after a crash like that, I think we're sitting not too bad.
Get a well-deserved rest. We'll see you in Unadilla.
Yeah, he has held that red plate, which the series points leader has since round 1, but it's going to be handed over to Ryan Villopoto today. Meanwhile, Ryan Dungey getting himself the overall victory, sharing some podium space in this moto with his teammate Brett Metcalfe. We'll be back to talk to all those boys when we return. The moto is complete. Let's show you how it broke down with our Lucas Oil race recap. This changed everything. Trey Canard was in 4th, this huge crash, and the Honda rider had to take medical attention, so we had to bring out a red flag. Ryan Villopoto was leading this race when the red flag came out. When we restarted it, there's Villopoto in the #2. Gets pushed a little wide. Ryan Dungey takes the lead. Villopoto attacked him hard after that. But he couldn't hold, he couldn't get around. Meanwhile, Reed was in 3rd. Brett Metcalfe made the move around the 22 to take the podium spot away. Villopoto couldn't hang with Dungey all the way to the finish. Dungey wins the moto. That gives him the overall over Villopoto. And Metcalfe, with this good, strong ride, finished 3rd in the race and 3rd overall. Let's send it down to Aaron Bates with our winner.
A dominating performance today by Ryan Dungey. And Ryan, you were just out of control, in control out there, everything you could possibly be. Take us through this track and what it means to come out on top.
It means a lot, you know. I mean, we need to keep winning these races. That's the goal, and each and every weekend out. But that second, we had a restart, got off to a good start, you know, and just tried to put the laps down, and had a couple mishaps, got a little hairy, but was able to come out with the overall, which was cool, you know. I think Team Rockstar Makita Suzuki did an unbelievable job, and as well as Dunlop and my suspension guy Adam for it was working today, man. Really happy with everything, and the man above for sure.
Chad Reed's mishap last weekend, did that re-energize your motivation towards this championship?
You know, not really. I mean, absolutely. You know, you hate to see a rider crash like that. It's nasty. It's a tough sport, but I'm glad he's okay, and I think, you know, he's still in it. You know, there's a lot of racing left. Ryan Villopoto and Chad Reed, they're really going to be on my heels, so
we need to go back and keep doing work. You know, it's a nonstop progress, but it's a challenge that I think myself and we all look forward to.
Enjoy that 2-week break.
Yeah, non-stop progress. Well said, Ryan Dungey. That results in this. A win in the second moto over Villopoto, Metcalfe, Reed. Brayton and Alessi really closed up on that race in 5th and 6th. Hahn, Weimer, Albertson, and Short round out the top 10. Short, tough last 2 laps for him. He lost 2 spots, both to Weimer and Albertson. And let's send it back down to the podium.
Not winning the overall here in Washougal continues to elude Ryan Villopoto, but Ryan, you're smiling, you're happy to be back up on the podium. Is there anything that you felt that you didn't leave on the table today?
You know, I got 2 really good starts, and then, you know, we had that red flag, which was a bummer because, you know, Trey got hurt, but, you know, we had to restart. I got an okay. I mean, it was a good start second, but obviously it wasn't like the first one. So just can't thank everybody at Monster Kawasaki, Dunlop for the great tires, you know, Parts Unlimited, Thor, Oakley, Renthal, everybody. Lord Jesus Christ, thank you guys, everybody.
All right, he's got the red plate. He is your new series points leader. Let's show you the overall results. Dungey and Villopoto tie on points for the day. Villopoto was 1 point ahead of Dungey in the standings coming in, so he will be 1 point ahead of him in the standings coming out of this. Metcalfe on the podium in 3rd overall. Reed and Brayton 4th and 5th. Let's send it back down to Aaron.
Brett Metcalfe told me he doesn't like the word mojo, but you got your swagger back. And Brett, what is it about here in Washougal? Every time, every year, it seems that this is where it turns around for you.
Well, quick shout out to D. Smith, it's my swagger right there. But man, I don't know, every year I come here, I get better and better. And early on, I had a lot of crashes, so I hated it, but now I love it. So just happy to do it for the Rockstar Makita Suzuki, get it up there. Dunlop ties got a great start this weekend, which helped. So I just had fun today. You know, I tried to take a little pressure off my shoulders, just go out there and enjoy it. Love being here, and had a great time.
Congratulations on a job well done today.
In this ultra-dynamic points chase, look at how much it's changed now. Villopoto and Dungey are close, and Reed is right there as well. It doesn't get much tighter than that. Metcalfe solid 4th in the series. Fuel your passion for motorcycle racing with Speed Motorcycle Text Alerts powered by Yamaha. Get the latest motor racing results and breaking news as soon as they become available, sent right to your phone. Text MOTO, that's Moto, to Speed 3 for all the alerts. Do it right now. That thing actually lights up. Check out that trophy. It actually lights up.
I've never got a trophy that I had to plug in to the wall socket. That I'm so jealous right now.
Man, that's cool. All right, let's give you the Toyota upcoming schedule, of which none of the races, I believe, will have lighted trophies. Sorry, guys. We'll take 2 weeks off, then we're racing at Unadilla in New Berlin, New York. NBC will have the second Moto 450 coverage of that one live at 3 p.m. Eastern. Then we have another weekend off. Go to the Sand Track of Southwick, Massachusetts, Steel City in Delmont, Pennsylvania, and we'll have our finale live on Speed from Pala, California, just outside of San Diego. 4 rounds and 8 motos remain. That's your Toyota moving forward schedule in one of the greatest AMA Motocross Championship chases we have ever seen. And we've also got a great one going in the 250 class. Those riders are out in their parade lap. We'll have their racing live on Speed as soon as we come back. AMA Pro Motocross Championship. We just wrapped up a dramatic 450 second moto. Now it's time to bring out the 250 bikes for their second moto. And we already completed Moto 1 for this group. Let's show you the highlights. New starting line here that they debuted last year at this race. It's long, it's fast, and it's one of the Kawasaki's that's going to get up front early. Blake Baggett of the 57 going to knife to the inside on the 17, and Justin Barsha grabbed the lead. A couple of Yamahas, Ryan Sipes and Kyle Cunningham up there as well. A crash here for Travis Baker, tangles with Darren Durham. Durham came out on the short end of that stick, but he would recover, come back and score some points in that moto. Sipes takes the lead away from Baggett. A couple laps later, Baggett finds this line to the inside to take the lead away from Sipes. Then you've got the 17 of Barsha attacking Sipes. Sipes wasn't able to maintain that pace all the way to the end. So Barsha moving forward. Watch this 55 kid, Tommy Week, a local who is racing only this race of the 12 race championship, and he is there challenging this Sipes-Barsha battle. Sipes would get passed by Barsha for a second time, then Weeks would go by. Unbelievable what Week was able to do. Then Tyler Rattray would challenge Kyle Cunningham a little bit further forward. That would put him up into second place. Cunningham would hang on for a solid third. As for the number 15, your points leader, Dean Wilson, he had a bad start. Here he is challenging Week. He'd make the pass there, then go after Barsha. At one point made the pass, Barsha got him back, and then a mistake for the 15 here. Coming out of this corner, catches his boot in one of the ruts and goes down, and that would be the end of his charge. He would not be able to get Barsha. He'd lose a few championship points to Rattray and a few more to this man, Blake Baggett, who wins the moto. It's give you the Moto 1 results. Baggett and Rattray continue Kawasaki's surge atop this series, but Cunningham at least was able to put his Yamaha on the podium. Barsha holds off Wilson, and let's send it down to Aaron Bates with a progressive pre-race report. Aaron?
After a great start in that first moto, Ryan Sipes is opting to sit out for this moto number 2. Ryan, can you explain to us what's going on with you?
I just really haven't felt good all outdoor season, and going in to get some blood work. It's getting bad now where I can barely finish motos, so we'll go get it checked out.
Disappointing. Hope you have the best.
Yeah, and in that first moto, he had the start, and remember, he kept fading back and back and back. You're going, wait a second, something has to be wrong here.
All right, we've seen that happen to these riders before. This late in the year, they have often ground themselves to where they have nothing left, the training, the travel, and of course the racing. So Sipes is seeing the starting grid, who was our fastest qualifier today, will not be racing this moto. Let's give you the Rocky Mountain ATVMC.com keys to racing at Washougal, Jeff.
Well, tire choice to put a little bit of water down. It's hard in spots. Of course, the sun's starting to go down and all the shade. Vision's going to be really important, and be prepared for a rough track. They've worked on a little bit, but some of these ruts are getting really deep, and the suspension setup along with the tire choice is going to be critical here.
Moto number 2, live on speed. Wilson on the 15 looked good going into the first turn and out of the first turn. He has the lead. Rattray is right there, and yet another good start for the 245 Honda Privateer Lance Vincent.
Where is our Moto 1 winner, Pro Circuit teammate here, Blake Baggett?
Over on the left side, looks like it's about 5th or 6th, and you've got Tyler Rattray looking to challenge Wilson right now. Vincent, he has proven he's not scared to go after the big names of his class, and he's trying to challenge Rattray for second at the moment.
I'm telling you, Weege, these guys are fired up right now. There is this tremendous battle brewing between the Pro Circuit Kawasaki teammates. Okay, they've kept it really clean. They've kept it, you know, racing each other fair, but we're 5 races from the end of the championship. It's really close. It's coming down to it. It's going to be time for these guys to just start, you know, getting after it and not really caring what the other riders think.
I think Lance Vincent doesn't care what the other riders think. He's looking to get in between 2 of the riders battling for this championship. Here he goes. Working the edge of the track, Jeff.
Trying to get to the inside of Rattray. Gets on the binders and gets that inside groove. Now Vincent, remember, well, let's look at this replay here on the left. This is the start during turn 2, and
oh, big tangle up there.
Big pile up. That looks like Eli Tomac is in there. I'm not quite sure which rider it was. Looks like another Honda rider that,
oh. Meanwhile, we go back to live action, and Rattray makes a mistake, and Lance Vincent has moved up into second. Now Rattray's immediately going to strike back and take Vincent a little bit wide.
This gets the heart rate pumping quickly. This is Moto 1. No time to get used to the track, to settle in. It is just straight skyrocketing and maxing out here with 27 minutes plus 2 laps to go.
Now, Vincent was riding for the Geico Honda team a few weeks ago as a replacement for the injured Will Hahn. Hahn is back, so Vincent is back to his original privateer team, the Moto Innovations Ankle Savers squad, and he is riding well.
Well, Vincent started the championship with Moto Innovations.
Yes.
After the second round, right, or at the second round, went to Geico for a while, and now here for 2 races back. With the privateer team. So, and he got great starts and has really performed fairly equal on both teams.
Then you got Gareth Swanepoel from South Africa on the DNA Shrek Sticks Star Racing Yamaha in the number 4 spot. Barsha is 5th, and we do not see Blake Baggett in this battle. Says he was 9th at the end of this lap that they just completed, so he has gone a little bit backwards off of the start. He was about 6th. Here's Barcia going after Swanepoel behind them. You got Nick Paluzzi on the Rockstar Suzuki. Big drop-off jump here. Barcia going to try to make a move on Swanepoel there. Not going to happen.
Track goes into a one-line situation here at the bottom of the Lucas Oil ski jump. They've changed the configuration of this race course over the years. Certain sections in the woods they would change up from year to year, but big differences there on the middle part of the track. Of course, the legendary Chuck Sun jump is no longer there. A massive tabletop. We're way back in 81 or 82. The local hero, factory Honda rider Chuck Sun has a throttle stick, and he goes flying, 1,000 feet in the air, and has a pretty good get off. But
got the Chupacabra sighting here. 57 Blake Baggett. This is almost a more comfortable position for him. He gets around Paluzzi, also battling with the 23 of Davalos. But Baggett has done a lot of damage coming through traffic this year. He was out front for nearly the entire first moto. He's going to have to launch one of those charges from the back now.
Well, you notice,
that'll put him into 7th. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, just behind the Rockstar Suzukis, you see very colorful riding gear here on the black and yellow bike. That's Malcolm Stewart, James Stewart's younger brother, who's been a real star of that ARMA Suzuki City team this year. Put in some great rides.
Yeah, he is a rookie first year as a professional. Younger brother of James Stewart, who won a bunch of championships in this class. Going back almost a decade ago now. Hard to believe actually Stewart's been around that long.
Patton did a move here, the Bubba Scrub.
Rattray has shrugged off the challenge from Vincent and caught back up to Wilson. Last week it was like we had a 12-foot-long Kawasaki. These two were hooked together for almost the entire race day at Millville, and they're about in that position again today.
Okay, look, I know there's a lot of time left, but I'm going to plant the seed, Jason, right now.
All right, Farmer.
In this situation with Baggett has now moved up to 7th. Okay, if these guys finish in this order, it is finally going to be Wilson that would be able to nab the overall with this moto win. So he really has his destiny in his own hands right now, because the 2-2 of Rattray would bring him up just a couple points short.
All right, we'll keep our eye on that. That's your overall battle. You still have Vincent back there in 3rd, Swanepoel 4th, Barcia 5th. Rattray caught right up to Wilson, and then Wilson gained about 0.3 of a second on him last time around. Go ahead, Jeff.
Wait a second. Pro Circuit Kawasaki is the dominant powerhouse of this class here.
Yeah.
This is a privateer Honda right here.
Yes. Yes, that's the one.
He's hanging with them, folks.
That's the one who's challenging them right now. Yeah.
he's close to getting the roost off the back of Rattray's bike. So I know we're only 7 minutes into this race here, but still a great start here to Moto 2 for Lance Vincent and that privateer Honda.
Let's see how long he can hang with them all the way to the end, or is he about to succumb to some heat from Swanepoel and Barcia, who are right there. And Vincent, by the way, is a rookie as a professional, definitely making a name for himself by putting in hard laps like this.
When you see the track here, as you get down into that left-hander, there's some serious braking bumps going in.
And let's give you some GoPro footage, show you what it's like to be on board. The GoPro cam on Will Hahn's Geico Honda. What's this like, Jeff?
Well, it's great. You hit this double, rutted double, and look how the shadows change right here. That's what the rider is seeing. It's
nothing.
Virtually, yeah. It takes a lot of concentration and focus to get through those sections at that speed.
All right, that's what they are all dealing with right now, late in the day at Washougal.
On an all-new episode of The Car Show, it's man.
Welcome back to Washougal, Washington. Dean Wilson leading the way here. At Wednesday night, the car show with Adam Carolla is all new. It's man versus machine. This is going to be good. The guys are going to take on a computer-controlled BMW at Laguna Seca. So don't miss the car show Wednesday night at 10 Eastern, only on Speed.
That's your favorite show now, right?
It's climbing the ranks very quickly. I know it's a new one, but I'm digging it. And maybe the only thing I like better is this show right here. And we're bringing some excitement, too, because Dean Wilson is riding well. But Tyler Rattray, you can see him back there in the 28. It's just close enough. And if Wilson makes a mistake, Rattray can take advantage. Looks like Swanepoel has gotten around Lance Vincent, and has put his Yamaha up into a podium position. And I believe that would be the first ever podium for him in the U.S. Now Vincent has got to deal with the 17 of Barcia. They are scrapping for it right now for fourth.
Wow, look at Barcia really charging in on the outside there. That was a nice move for the position, and Vincent, no time to rest. Now he has Blake Baggett, Chupacabra, on the move, coming out of the woods.
Oh, interesting.
That's where they live, right?
And he goes right by, and Vincent, well, what happened there?
Uh-oh, Vincent now, has a problem.
Oh, no.
Either with his body language tells me that there's something, this is something to do with him, not the bike. Okay. He's a little bit crouched over. We'll follow up on that. Maybe Aaron can get a word.
Oh, man.
Find out what's up.
All right, so Vincent losing all those positions that he fought so hard for early in this race. Baggett's going to keep fighting as well. He is up to fourth, and the gap between Barcia, who is fourth, and the leaders is 11 seconds. So I don't know, even if Baggett can even make a pass for this position, I don't know if he would have time to try to challenge his teammates for the moto win like he got in Moto 1.
I'll tell you what, Jason, in AMA motocross, especially in second moto, lap times seem to get stretched out. The guy that's having a good day is turning to fast lap times. Wilson leading the race at 2:15, well, 2:16, let's call it. All the way back to 11th, which is Cunningham, is a 2:18. So there's only 3-second lap time difference. That's pretty close, deep through the field right here. All these riders turning in great lap times. That's why this class, especially at this racetrack, is so competitive and the racing is so close.
Baggett is close, right behind Barcia and looking to make a pass in a hurry. Here's one of those drop-away jumps, positioning himself on the outside.
Here it is, knowing here in the late in the second moto that first left-hander, when you come down off the Lucas Oil ski jump, that inside rut gets a little deep, and if you are brave enough to go to the outside and take a chance, okay, you can find a smooth line out there, and that's definitely going to be a passing spot that Baggett's going to be looking forward to next lap around if he needs it.
Right behind Barcia, big left-hand corner coming up here. Baggett's going to enter on the outside. Barcia goes out there as well. Baggett cuts back to the inside. He is all over the track.
He's got the drive right now. You see him downshift as he comes through here. Can he carry some more momentum to the inside?
And this is a tough spot to make moves. There's not much room. And Barcia is able to take advantage of that and hold him back.
Looked like Baggett had the spot. He might have jumped past him here through the whoop section.
Across the start-finish line we go, and Baggett does have the spot. Barcia going to try to come back around the outside. Here we go. Oh, and Baggett just edges him out.
Oh, you could tell Baggett was going to run it in there hard, but those braking bumps were just too much for him as the Geico Honda was just kind of huck-a-bucking around. He just could not get a straight, good braking drive into there, and Baggett takes the spot.
Davilo's 23, staying close to those two. Then you got Alex Martin on the 46 and Stewart on the 139, Malcolm Stewart. And so we're seeing a good mix of factory-supported bikes and some privateer machines.
Yeah, look on the left side by the left foot peg on Stewart's bike. He's got something, it looks like something is hanging down, whether it's part of a tough block cover or something.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem to be, you know, part of some banners or whatnot. Doesn't seem to be holding him back right now. But the 46 of Alex Martin, lately, this kid has been on fire. Unbelievable rides, especially last week at his home race at Villopoto.
Well, he finished in the top 5 there. Then, you know, the theories start going out, well, it's his home track. His parents own the place. He knows it well. But here he is, 7th.
Parents don't own this place.
They don't own this one. It's on the opposite end of the country. Although, by the way, this track does have some history. The son of the track owners here, Ryan Huffman, he had some great motos at this facility. So
A lot of the local riders, Jason McCormick had great rides here. We've seen Tommy Week, the first moto here.
Yep.
Use that local knowledge. This is the type of soil here, and when you really have a feel for the slippage and the lack of traction here and the flow of this track, use it to your advantage once it comes pro day here for AMA Motocross.
What Martin is feeling right now is some pressure from Malcolm Stewart, and that is a battle for 7th and 8th. While Wilson's gap, he and Ratcher are matching each other lap for lap. It's still 2.9 seconds.
serious championship contenders know now is...
Well, this is what happens when your team is dominating the championship standings. When the Monster Pro Circuit Kawasaki team goes for an autograph signing, they go in style in the stretch limo, and the fans show up in droves to see them. This is something that happens on Friday nights before these races almost every weekend, Jeff.
Yeah, you get a chance to, the fans get a chance to see their favorite riders come out, visit the dealer. Lots of good stuff, and, get Dean Wilson's autograph.
Yeah, and you might be getting the autograph of a man who's going to possibly win a moto, maybe even an elusive overall.
No, he doesn't win overalls. He gets second.
Just not his style. He'll just hand it over.
Hey, he would like to, and I tell you, to add to the success of this team, this combination between Pro Circuit and Kawasaki have more than 4 times as many overall wins as the next closest competitor, and almost twice as many as all the other manufacturers combined.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's been pretty successful. And Dean Wilson, even though he's got the red plate, you see, and he's leading the championship, he's not getting the overalls. That means he's not getting maximum points. He's been the most consistent, okay? But he's also missing out on dollars, because as a rider, you get bonuses for winning motos, and especially for winning overalls. And in the record books, they count your overalls. In Supercross, Motocross had 37. They didn't count how many seconds I got.
Yeah, or just moto wins. Hey, let's check out the progressive whole shot replay here, Jeff.
Look at this, couple of PC bikes up there, some Yamahas. And as they come around turn 2 this time, it was Dean Wilson, and he's been able to hold on the whole way. Rattray is right there stalking him, as he always does, but this track has not been the type of track where, like last week, where Rattray could really pour it on.
Well, what's changed here, this track is actually getting faster as the moto goes on. At one point, they were low 217 lap times. Wilson busted it in the 216s. Rattray matched that. So now Wilson has gone into the 215s, and Rattray has matched that. 2.5 seconds is the gap, so Wilson is riding phenomenally well.
That was a close one right there.
Yeah, that was a
little
close one.
slippage, and that's the thing. We miss some of those sometimes, and then you hear the rider on the podium go, well, I had a couple of big ones out there. That means a couple of big mistakes, and hey, but nobody saw it. But I tell you what, we are seeing right here is Swanepoel.
Yeah,
fantastic effort here for this Yamaha team.
Let's see if he can keep the 57 of Baggett at bay. Martin Davalos has been riding phenomenally in this moto. The Ecuadorian on the Rockstar Suzuki, and Alex Martin has gotten around Justin Barcia. So Martin up to 6th, Barcia in 7th, Malcolm Stewart in 8th. So once again, if anyone thought that the only reason Martin ran well last weekend is because that's literally his home track where he lives.
That's a thing of the past.
Yeah,
this
he's matching
for real.
it. Matching it here.
Got a lapped rider down there, right in the main line. Everyone's trying to scramble. You come around that corner, and if you didn't have your head up enough, you weren't looking forward enough, looking ahead, it would kind of catch you by surprise. But Martin has been awesome. I really like what I'm seeing, and I believe he's got a pretty fast little brother too, right?
Yeah, one of the top amateur riders who I think will be pro maybe 2013 would be my guess. I think he's still in the intermediate class, so maybe an expert next year. So we could have 2 Martin brothers out here doing some battle. Barcia slipping backwards a little bit, but honestly for Barcia, he has had a tough time the last couple weeks just staying off the ground.
He's had a tough time ever since he wrapped up the East Coast Light Supercross Championship. Really, since then, it's been just a struggle all the way around. Has a virus, mononucleosis. Of course, in the summertime, as you're being depleted, and your body is, all the energy being taken out of it, and you have this virus where you're trying to recover. He decided to race through the whole situation here and not take time off that the doctors recommended.
Yeah, and he has unfortunately taken some bumps and some bruises during the time of racing. Broke his nose last week in Minnesota. Still suited up and raced the second moto, and still come out here and race today. Malcolm Stewart, though, doesn't care about any of that. No sympathy, no empathy from him. He just wants to take the position away. See the mechanics glued to the live scoring there, because it is still close for all these positions. Stay with us. Let's check in on the number 55, Tommy Week, who is a local here in Washington. Oh! And I think we jinxed him by putting the camera on him. He tips over. He was under pressure from Will Hahn. They were battling for 14th and 15th. Tommy finished 6th in Moto 1.
Yeah, and Muscan from France got by. Tomac is just behind him. So that's going to put him in 17th. And Brock Tickle, who started way outside of the top 20, maybe even outside of the top 30, is going to be just behind them and just inside the top 20.
And Week is actually the brother-in-law of one of the track owners here, Ryan Huffman. He's the son of the track owners, is Ryan. So certainly Week has some local knowledge. After the 6th in Moto 1, he said hopefully that'll get some attention from the team. Maybe he'll get enough money to go to some more races. But for now, he's only going to be here at Washougal. You got the 19 of Tomac going by. There's Week. And then the 20 of Brock Tickle. And unfortunately for Tickle and Tomac, this has been the way their season has gone. Anytime they build some momentum, then they seem to have a bad race, which when this series began, we thought that those two might have been front runners. They were front runners in Supercross. Here is Tickle making a move on Week. Then a move Tickle up. But
I tell you, when you think about Tickle, it's got to be frustrating because he won the championship, and now his 3 teammates, he's just not even close to him right now in this championship.
All right, this is key here as Baggett has closed in on Swanepoel, and this could affect the overall win today when we calculate both motos together. Baggett is in 4th right now. He's won moto number 1. He passes Swanepoel. I think that might be enough to give him the overall if Tyler Rattray can't get around Wilson.
Yeah, that's right, Weege. I made that mistake. I was thinking Wilson was 3rd the first moto, but he was actually 4th. I'm sorry, 5th,
yeah,
which would give him
5
5 points.
So Baggett needs to get around Swanepoel, though it's not just for the overall, it's also points. But his mechanic, Sean Irwin, does put on the board, need him. So he's got to get the 387. Time is running out. You see the clock at the top of the screen, 2 minutes, and then 2 laps to go.
Here it is, the drag race. Whoa! Leaving the horsepower down there. Baggett not backing off.
Gonna try the outside.
Swanepoel, he's hip to that. He just pushed him out just a little bit, but look, relentless right here. Baggett is not letting off one bit.
And still can't make the move. So Tyler Rattray, who's looking at 2 second-place finishes today, for the moment could also be looking at an overall win. But for how long? Because here comes Baggett again.
Here's this outside. Look at this line right here. Baggett just finding a smooth line around. Made the pass easy and pulls a couple of bike links just in that tight section. You notice Baggett take a look to his right, too. He wants to see who's next in line and just how far out front Rattray would be. And that's going to be a good 15 seconds in front. So with such little time, 3rd may be as far forward in the standings that he can reel in, but it should be good enough for the overall, especially after my bad math earlier in this moto. Wilson really with the 5th in Moto 1 really has no shot at the overall at this point.
Hey, we didn't hire you for your math skills. Don't worry. Whoa, rider just goes straight off the track there. That was a rider who was going a lap down. I don't know if he missed the line or didn't see the line or if he had a bike problem or what, but just went straight off. Let's go back to Baggett here across the line. They just missed. Time has not expired, so we will have 3 laps to go.
Watch this here. Looks like the 707 gets cross-threaded a little bit right there, right in front, and just misses that tree to his right.
Alex Milliken from Texas. Wow, a long way to get here and a long way to get back on the track after going off there. All right, so Baggett is up to 3rd, and that may change the overall, but Tyler Rattray is still going after a moto win. Stay with us. On the next American trucker, Rob tests his mettle by working a full shift for an independent trucking company and then hits the road in search of 60 vintage big rigs. Don't miss American Thunder, Thursday night at 10 Eastern on Speed. Blake Baggett is in 3rd in this moto and may win the overall, but it all comes down to who wins this moto. It could change everything. Dean Wilson on the 15 is leading it. Behind him is Tyler Rattray on the 28. If Rattray can get Wilson, he'll win the overall for the day, but it is not going to be easy. Wilson has ridden a phenomenal race, and it is a 3-second gap between the 15 and the 28 right now.
Well, Rattray has been so close. I mean, he's basically paced Wilson the whole way through. Last lap around was really the first lap in a while where their lap times differed. Wilson was about a second quicker. That gave him a 3.8 second lead. Now at the end of this whoop section that Rattray is getting ready to enter will be the finish line. And you see the 2-lap board up there on the right-hand side of the screen. Here comes Wilson. I believe that Rattray has tightened it up.
And now we're down to the white flag. He has tightened it up.
3.8 to 1.3 seconds. Rattray starting to pour it on. He wants the overall here.
Rattray just ran a 2:15 lap where Wilson went 2:18. Who's going to dig down the deepest here, Jeff?
Look who we got in front. We got some lapped riders. The next one around is Moore, the 140. See how he's kind of right there in the scramble.
Wilson was able to clear him. Rattray was not. But now Rattray gets him. We're going to hook back on near the starting line. This is going to be exciting here on this final lap. The overall hanging in the balance. And in addition, championship points, which are at a premium now. It has been so close between these two for the points lead all year long. And we've only got a few races to go after this.
Yeah, they're getting ready to lap number 70. That's Tapia. You see he's out of the way there, off to the far left, out of the racing line.
Oh, Rattray's right there. Manages to get around Tapia and not lose too much ground to Wilson.
He's pushing hard right here. Rattray has been so fired up. Earlier today for first practice, Rattray was the first one up there all alone with his bike. He could not wait to get out on the track today. Just so much intensity and excitement out of the South African.
But he's got to try to find an area to make a pass. He is definitely close enough to do it. But he was close in the first moto last week at Millville, Minnesota, and Wilson held him back. Can Rattray get him this time, or will Wilson hold him off? Side by side.
The heat is on, Weege. This is it for the overall.
And the fans come back to life here. We're going to race it all the way down to the checkered flag. The last moto of the day. We've brought you 4 live motos on U.S. television today. And here's Mitch Payton, the team manager for this squad. He will not pick a favorite on his team for sure. He just hopes they don't run into each other. Time's running out on Wilson. We've only got one more section before we get to the finish.
Wilson executed this last section perfectly. He made a little mistake here earlier in the moto. No problems this time, but he does choose to get out of the way of the lap rider.
It's the last turn, Jeff, the last turn. Rattray couldn't make it happen. We're going to go across the whoops. Who can get through quicker? And it's Dean Wilson with a clutch moto win here at Washougal.
0.6 seconds in front of Rattray.
Unbelievable. And Rattray finishes second. And I think that might give the overall to this man, Blake Baggett, with a first and a third on the day. That edges out 2 seconds, which is what Rattray would have. And another day, another race, another it's too darn close to call one between the Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki riders. There is no way you can make a prediction on which one of these 3 is going to win this championship at the end of the year. Amazing parity in this 250 class. And there's the mechanic for Baggett, Sean Irwin. I think they think that they have got this one. Got to give Wilson credit, though. What a run to hold off Rattray down the stretch.
Yeah, so Wilson once again fails to get the overall, but what a ride here.
Yeah, what a bounce back after a tough first moto. So Wilson has got to win. Rattray was close. Baggett's your overall winner. Welcome back to Washougal. Let's give you the Lucas Oil race recap and show you how the second 250 moto today turned out. Maybe no surprise, here was Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki's with good starts. See the green bike's out front, the 15 of Dean Wilson, your series points leader. That's why he has the red plate, and the bike is out front in this one. Blake Baggett, meanwhile, had a bad start, but he makes this move on the 387 of Gareth Swanepoel to get to third, and that will be enough to give him the overall victory. But the moto win would come down to the wire. This is the last lap. Tyler Rattray right there on Dean Wilson. Last turn, Rattray in the 28 can't find a drive, and the 15 of Wilson hangs on. Great race by both Rattray and Wilson. Let's send it down to Aaron with our overall winner, Blake Baggett.
I was the first to inform Blake that you won the overall. Blake, what was going through your mind? You lost traction, you went down, and here you are, you win the overall.
Yeah, I literally had no clue what place I got. I thought I was somewhere between 4th to 8th, and it was just, you couldn't see anything out there. The shadows are really bad, and Hey, I won it. That's pretty cool. I didn't even know. But I got to give it up to my team, Monster Energy, Pro Circuit, Kawasaki, Parts Unlimited, Thor, Vans, Volcom, Traxxas, SoCal Super Trucks, Kurt Henderson for helping me out on my starts, my mom, my dad, my trainer, Alden Baker, my girlfriend. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here, and it's kind of nice to have a 2-week break, and I won it. That's weird. I didn't even know it. I don't know how that worked out. So.
Congratulations on a well-deserved victory.
Hey, even the riders get confused on the math sometimes. Let's show you your Toyota upcoming schedule. All of your 250 class races on Speed, Second Motos. We'll have 2 weekends off. We'll go to Unadilla, another weekend off, and then it's a stretch run. Southwick, Massachusetts, Steel City and Delmont, Pennsylvania, just outside of Pittsburgh, and then Pala in California, outside of San Diego. That's going to wrap up your series. That's your Toyota moving forward schedule. We will move back to the podium when we come back to talk to Tyler Rattray and Dean Wilson.
On an all-new episode of...
Earlier in our show, Trey Canard and the American Honda Racing factory ride had a brutal crash here on Horsepower Hill. Watch the red bike, the 41. He's running in fourth, challenging Ryan Dungey. This was a tough one, Jeff.
Just catches the front wheel, and he hits the ground really hard here. That was a fast section.
Trey has been taken to a local hospital for observation. He was complaining of pain in the same leg that he broke a few months ago, coming back from a broken femur. So certainly we hope for the best for him. Let's give you the results here in 250 Moto 2 at Washougal. Guess what? 1, 2, 3 Kawasaki again. Wilson, Rattray, Baggett. Swanepoel, another one of the Yamahas, the next one to challenge. Fourth, Davalos and Martin. Great runs for them. Let's send it back down to the podium and Aaron Bates.
It was a battle all the way down to the checkered flag, and Tyler, you gave it everything that you had out there today. You mentioned that this track is so slick and so deceiving. Did it come down to traction control today?
Oh yeah, definitely. You know, it's a very technical track, this, and I felt good that second moto. You know, I was sitting behind Dean, and he pulled away a little bit, and I was struggling a bit with lines, and managed to sort it out at the end, and yeah, it was just too late. But just got to thank all the guys from Monster Energy, Pro Circuit, Kawasaki, Parts Unlimited, Thor, Vans, Volcom, my wife, my parents, just Alden Baker, everyone. Thank you.
Congratulations on a job well done today, and enjoy your 2-week break.
Okay, here is the math. The overall goes to Baggett by 1 point. Rattray, if he had been able to make that pass on Wilson, would have won the overall. Just came up short. Wilson, a great job salvaging 3rd overall after a tough first moto. And another 4th overall for Kyle Cunningham. Just keeps making it happen, and that is 5 out of 8 races this year where the Pro Circuit team has swept the podium overall. Let's send it back down to Aaron.
A phenomenal ride by Dean Wilson. Dean, it was almost as though you were out there riding angry after moto number 1.
Oh, definitely. I was taking my frustrations out. I mean, the first moto was just such a disappointment. My start was terrible. I failed once, you know. We just didn't get in my groove, you know. So that second one, I was fired up. Like, sorry for lunch, but I was pissed. And I just wanted that one so bad. And Tyler was on it. And in the last couple laps, I was kind of hitting some lappers. And he was really on me, but, you know, I told myself I came this far, I'm not going to let him by now. So, you know, I fought for it and took the second moto win. So, you know, it was nice, have a little bit of break. I'd like to thank all the boys, Monster Energy, Pro Circuit, Kawasaki, Thor, Dunlop, Parts Unlimited, my mechanic Paul, my dad watching at home, my mom, mechanic Sam, Vans, Volcom, Toyota Escondido. Thank you.
Let's give you the series standings in this 250 class. Dean Wilson still hanging on, but Blake Baggett is right back in it. Tyler Rattray right behind him. I don't know what else to say. We've been saying it all year, how great this championship battle is. So I'll just say it again, it's great.
I mean, those 3 guys are pulling away. They're almost 100 points ahead of 4th place, but yet only 4 separate them.
Yeah, so it's a close race behind it. I think it's safe to say that one of these Kawasaki riders is going to win the title. Hey folks, so glad you could join us for back-to-back live motos on Speed here from Washougal. Congratulations to our overall winners, Ryan Dungey and Blake Baggett. We had a 2-week break, and then we'll be back with more motocross. For Aaron Bates and Jeff Emig, I'm Jason Wygant. Thanks for joining us for Speed's live coverage from Washougal.